On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will be chatting with Justin Nunez, who is a huge collector of Star Wars props and other high-end collectibles from the films. Once they're done chatting with this superfan, they'll break down S1E2 of the Bad Batch, aka the Cut and Run episode. So if you're not caught up, get it done and then get learned. After the batch, they'll dive into the ridiculous amount of set leaks coming out of the UK shoot for Andor, which now features Cassian and some shore troopers working through a scene. They've got some Kenobi updates and new speculations based on a social media post by Moses Ingram and an interview by Ewan with Jimmy Kimmel. Finally, before the fan segment, Matt will break down the prelude to the War of the Bounty Hunters, which has him loving him some Bozo-era Boba Fett action. And then, you know what comes next. Battle bracket updates, fan responses, and the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. Punch it, Chewie!
Hey now, everybody! Welcome to a brand new episode of the Star Wars Time Show, and as you can see, it's one of those special episodes because it's not just Nick and I. We have a guest, and that guest is none other than one of the bigger Star Wars prop collectors on the planet, SW Props, aka Justin Nunez. Justin, welcome to the Star Wars Time Show.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
feel very.
Yeah, I mean you're someone, obviously you're buddies with our good friend and resident vector artist at Super Scoundrel, someone we've talked about on the show before. But SW Props himself is quite a fun follow on the gram if you're into collecting kind of high-end collectibles is what I'd call them, the actual props from the films. And he also seems to be, kind of in the know with where some of these locations are at. He was just at the, S2E6 episode shooting location for The Mandalorian. He was reenacting a stunt that was pulled off by the very talented Lauren Mary Kim. So, I don't know. I just wanted to talk with Justin because, like us, he seems to be a hardcore Star Wars fan. So it's a little different interview, not necessarily from the toy photography or the Star Wars artist scene. But someone that is a huge fan nonetheless. We want to get to know more about him and, figure out his Star Wars biography, if you will. It seems the camera's going to be jumping around, but it looks like it fixed itself. So that's why we're a little late today, because our, here, if you've listened to the Star Wars Time Show, that our technology is ran by a hamster and a gerbil. And sometimes they don't quite want to get up and perform for show day, and today was one of those days. So hopefully the gerbil and hamster will keep running, keep those wheels spinning to keep the show up and afloat. But if you see Justin's image flickering off and on, there's really not much we can do at this point in time. So,
yeah, it's not his fault. It's not our fault. It's technology.
Yeah, blame it on Elon Musk or somebody like that, right? All right, so the deal is here. We're going to talk with Justin. We're going to get to know him as a Star Wars fan. Why did he get seduced by this franchise like a lot of us? And kind of how that may have played into his, what I consider to be, like I said, high-end, big dollar type of collecting. I sit here and talk a big game about having pre-orders for the next year or two that, tally into the thousands. But I'd wager this gentleman drops that, quarterly, monthly. I don't know. You never know. But this guy's got some pretty impressive stuff in his lair. As you can see, this Boba Fett we're looking at is one of his collectibles. But Justin, before we get into that stuff, let's just kind of get into you as a Star Wars fan. And, how long has it been? Are you like myself, someone that basically out of the womb you were indoctrinated with the Star Wars, or are you like Nick? Did you come to it later in life?
I don't know about you guys. I think Matt, you're not really a prequel lover, right?
I'm getting there. I mean, I will say the Clone Wars have definitely massaged a lot of the pain that the prequels induced upon me back in those days. But coming out of it in the year 2005, I did not have the best overall opinion of those films. Correct.
Okay, so that's what got me into it. That's like what I grew up on. Natalie Portman, Samuel L. Jackson, that kind of thing. And I was just like, Natalie Portman's like my girl crush growing up.
Well, yeah, me too.
Yeah, that was the Phantom. So you're just like, whoa, who is this chick? And that's what got me into it. So I'm pretty much like one of the big prequel fans.
So
like,
Justin, were you a kid when they came out, or were you in your teens? I mean, because I'm an old guy. I'm one of the older guys of the Star Wars Time Show. Yeah. I mean, were you a young kid in '99?
Yeah, I was like 11.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So your journey's a little more
Justin
like Nick's.
Justin and I are around the same age because I'm 80. I was born in '88, so I'm going to be 33 this year. Yeah. 88. So yeah, it's kind of the same situation. I first saw Star Wars when I was 10, but I was always an OT guy. That was my trilogy, because I guess it's like I saw it so many times before I saw the prequel trilogy that it was just like ingrained in the brain.
Hey Justin, was it just no one around you was interested in Star Wars prior to that, or just the idea of new Star Wars, seeing the trailers, and like you said, you obviously were getting a little excited down in your nether regions for Natalie Portman? But was there a reason, not that this is a malfunction on your part, but was there a reason that Star Wars proper, the OT, wasn't in your life prior to the prequels?
I don't know, like what I was like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle guy, that's what I grew up on. And what else? I was a big basketball fan. So I was never really like into it until the prequels came out.
So the parents didn't bring it into your life early on.
Yeah. And believe it or not, I really haven't collected until the last 5-10 years.
Holy shit. So you really went off the deep end once you got it sounds like you got indoctrinated with the prequels. You're just chilling a little bit, and then you're like, oh yeah, I just remembered, if I'm a Star Wars fan, I need to now dedicate my life savings to honoring Star Wars through collecting.
Well, you know what the bad part was, those Funko Pops. That's what really...
So like around 2010-ish, because that's when they first debuted. That's when I got into them and really got bit by the Funko. I'm talking, I think my collection was 5,000 strong. I'm sorry, not 5,000. I think I had like 700 or 800. I don't know. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, garage is full of them, and I just, how you're lazy to sell them,
right?
You're just like,
no, we were kicking ass at the end of 2020 because my wife kind of took charge. She's like, you know what? You gave me the green light. I can start shedding some of these Funko Pops, not the Star Wars ones. I still have those. Those have not been thrown up on the auction block yet. But once she got it going and we started to see the return on my investments, it was like, holy shit, dude. So if you've got...
It was
go ahead.
At its peak.
Yeah, if you have a bunch from the early years, like the 2010s, 11s, 12s, and you're looking to get rid of them, we sold over $20,000 worth in like two or 3 months of some...
It's hard. All the hard work getting those,
right.
Like camping, trying to be the first ones at Comic-Con. It's hard. It's really hard.
I kind of lucked out on some of the exclusives because in the early days of Popdom, the fanaticism wasn't there yet. So if you were collecting, you're pretty much getting stuff easy peasy, street prices. I had to go to eBay here and there for some of the more exclusive Star Wars stuff because I wasn't attending an SDCC. But even then, Justin, they were still... I mean, I think I got that original Boba Fett Funko, which these days is way up there, or Hollow Mall, for like $30-$40. These days, they're upwards of $800 to $1,000. So while people may make fun of the Pops, as Justin found out by collecting them early, and myself, so far they have not gone the way of the Beanie Baby. You know what I mean? In terms of getting your money back.
I got out of it because they started mass producing them. They stopped the limited Comic-Con ones. Even the Comic-Con ones are not.
It just became. I'm with you. I feel like Brian, or what's his name, whoever runs Funko, he realized, like, holy shit, we've actually caught on to something here. We finally created a collectible that people go gaga for. And he's like, fuck it, let's just jam it down their throats. Because it went from, like you said, main pop culture licenses like DC, Marvel, Star Wars, into a few fringe ones, to now it's everything. Like, everyone and their mom is a Funko Pop. And it lost its allure.
That's the thing that gets dangerous is it can get addicting. You go down different lines. You're like, okay, now I'm Star Wars, Marvel. Now I'm, DC. Oh, yeah. And it just keeps going, and then you're like, I'm sure Matt can relate, just like boxes to the ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, I was unboxing them, stacking them in rows. I think I had a system where I could fit 70 per shelf on a 5-shelf setup, but then I was buying boxes for the boxes to store, and it's just like, you know what? That's enough, pal. Right. That's enough.
So pretty much, when they started doing the mass producing, I was like, okay, I got to get out of this, and it wasn't until I joined a Star Wars prop like Facebook group, and I saw they were getting these life-size like statues, and I'm like, for the same price as how much I could sell one of my Funko Pops. So I'm like, why would I have this like 3-4 inch figure when I can have the real thing?
There you go. It's called waking up from the pop sickness, right, Nick? I went through it myself when I graduated from Pops, the Black Series, to now Hot Toys. But it is kind of it's a progression, right, Justin? Where it's like, hey, I'm spending money on these. I'm waiting up. I'm sitting in online queues to get this shit, and I can sell them for good cash, make a lot of money back. But what better way to take that money and reinvest it back into your love of Star Wars than to buy bigger and badder Star Wars collectibles? So I love the system there.
Hot Toys is another one I try to stay away from because I know it can get really dangerous.
It does. I started with one, and now I have, I think, 20 on pre-order, which, if you do the math, is a lot. We're talking like buying cars with cash, down payments on higher end vehicles, or even a house at this point. But hey, you only live once. You can't take it with you. And collectors, they kind of get it. But I've even realized with myself, Justin, last week we had May the 4th, all that fun stuff. There was a bunch of reveals for Vintage Collection, for Black Series. I didn't touch a single one. So I
stayed away. This is the first year I stayed away.
Yeah, Nick, it was funny. Like someone that doesn't collect shit. On Star Wars Day, Nick is the only one that I know from the Star Wars Time Show universe that actually bought himself a Star Wars collectible, right, Nick?
I did. And this was purely a purchase made out of like envy and anger, because when they first announced the Revan Saber, the Black Series FX Elite Revan Saber, I pre-ordered it on Amazon. It was a whole story on the Star Wars Time Show. It was like a 3 or 4 episode long saga. And it ended up I ended up not getting it because Amazon canceled my pre-order because they had more than they expected come through. And I never got it. And I was never able to get it again. So to replace it, on May the 4th this year, GameStop put up the Palpatine Force Effects Elite Saber for 50% off. So instead of $220, it was $110. I was like, you know what? I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'm like you guys, where I feel like the Disney ones, they're like burritos.
Yeah.
They're like they're the Force Elites, they're getting better.
Here. Let me see.
Yeah, because Nick, you got that thing. Like I know he just walked away, but this guy, I mean, he doesn't buy shit for Star Wars. He bought. He bought it half price, right? It was half price, and you got it shipped from GameStop in like a day.
Yeah, it literally got here like a day later, if not that. Like, So Justin, I think
Oh
he's
yeah,
getting one of
we're
his
about
as well,
to have a
but
cock off, but with lightsaber hilts here.
Palpatine saber off.
Oh, no. To show you the size of the real.
Here he goes. Look at this guy.
Okay.
Like,
yeah. See, this one's still a bit bigger, so it's close.
yeah.
It's close. The coloration's not quite the same. The color of mine looks a little bit more dull. I know that you guys aren't seeing this in color on the screen, but Justin's official prop saber is definitely a little bit brighter.
Man,
And if you look at the hand size, yeah, like that is. But then this one's definitely beefier, so it's bigger. You can still fit your hand around it, unlike the Disney sabers. The Disney sabers, it's like, man.
Oh man, they're horrible. I mean,
Yeah.
no.
I like what, Justin calling them burritos. I think that's a very apt descriptor for the Disney lightsabers, the Savvy's Workshop deal, and more than likely the new retractable blade.
They cater to a certain market, right? Like the average fan who wants to go to have an experience at Disneyland. I get it, but
so that
that
prop right there, Justin. I mean, how do you? Was that used on set, or is that just a replica of Palpatine's hilt?
No, it's a master replicas.
Got it.
So it was scanned from the original. So this is like the actual dimensions and everything.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's certain replicas I go for, but I try to stay away from replicas because I'm like, when I got into the real original prop like collecting, I was like, why? You know, with Star Wars collecting, you kind of have to have a focus, or else
you get scatterbrained.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So I stick with original props just because for the same price, not the same price, but for the money I'm spending already on a replica, I might as well get the real thing.
Yeah, I hear that. So, and we'll get there. We'll get there. I got a few more Star Wars questions for you if I didn't just shut down everything here. But all right, so he came into it later in life, got involved with the prequels because of Miss Was Miss Natalie Portman your main driver in what kind of going towards Star Wars? Yeah.
Oh, I'll admit it on the show. I'm obsessed with her. She's like my wife.
Yeah, no, I can remember. I would have been hell when they got announced.
Here's the thing. I'm a photographer, so I work with a lot of different companies. I work with her husband's company.
Got you.
And I saw her like visiting, and I was like, I can't say anything because you have to stay professional. So she's just like in front of me, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, he
just be like, I need to do some camera tests. Can you just stand still real quick? I just need to make sure that
Miss Portman, the lighting's a lot better where you're at. Hold on, let me get a framing over there. let me check my white balance, right?
NDA and all that.
Right after that shoot, he had to go home and have some alone time with himself, I think is what he's trying to what he's hitting at. Well, you know what? I mean, she is a beauty, so I'm sure you're excited that she's coming back into the pop culture universe through Thor. Was it Love and Thunder?
Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder.
Which that's a good sign because she really hated this kind of fandom.
I know.
So, like, she hates Star Wars. I've talked to her about it. She hates Star Wars.
Does she hate it because of how poorly she kind of came off, or the prequels in general, or?
Well, kind of, but she told me it was because it almost ruined her career.
It ruined Hayden Christensen's career. So we've seen multiple casualties of Star Wars movies over the last 40 years. I think
Daisy Ridley's dealing with that right now.
Yeah.
But you have to admit, it kind of helped her career, right? Like, people kind of know her because of that, too.
Of course.
Yeah, and also I feel like she, more than anybody else in that prequel cast, kind of embraced it, especially with the SNL rap. And then like she just kind of, she was like, all right, people aren't huge fans of this, but you know what? I'm going to take it in and I'm going to put that energy back out, make fun of myself a little bit, make fun of the franchise. And I think that's what let her rise above. Whereas like Hayden finished the movies and then he just kind of,
he did Jumper and then that was about it. He was done.
Yeah.
Emperor was cool.
Yeah, I don't mind
like
it either. And we've said this before, and I think Justin would agree. I mean, it's not that Hayden is a bad actor. I mean, he was getting Golden Globe noms before Star Wars. It's just, as Ewan said in the interview we talked about a week or two ago, when you're given the scripts they're given, and then you also have no scenery to draw inspiration from, it's going to come off kind of shitty for all actors, regardless of their abilities. And it sounds like Natalie, felt that way. And, we've seen it all. It's a known thing. The prequels, love them or hate them, they had some pretty cool looking visuals. But outside of that, I mean, the acting is B-movie. Some of the dialogue is eye-rolling worthy. But hey, like Justin said, I mean, I know they might have hated it at the time, but it does kind of thrust you into a new level of stardom if you get attached to Star Wars. But it can bite you in the ass, as some of the leads have found out, Hayden being one. Mark and Carrie, really. I mean, they kind of, had successful careers in other mediums or behind the scenes type of work, but never starring cast level type of gigs. So it is kind of a double-edged sword, depending on what you have accomplished before you get into Star Wars. Like, if Star Wars is your big introduction to, I've made it, you're walking on some thin ice there.
Yeah, thin ice.
Oh, man.
Well, with Hayden and Ahmed Best at Celebration, that it was Devin and I's first celebration, and it must have took a lot of guts for them to come back to this fandom,
Oh, yeah. Because, they were getting unfairly blamed for a lot of the shit that, we love him. We love him. He is the maker, but George was the man.
Yeah.
Every decision in those movies was George's. Everyone that worked for George during the prequels, yes, sir, whatever you want. And that's what he got, but it might not have been the best for everyone else. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
But man, they had the best standing ovation, like warmest welcome when they came back to Celebration. Like when I was in line for Ahmed Best, like everyone was hugging him after they get his signature. Like it was just like insane. It's a different celebration.
Yeah, that's incredible to see too, because Ahmed Best, if you've never read his story, he went into a deep
kill
depression
himself.
after
was on a balcony committing suicide or contemplating suicide.
Yeah, and
Natalie became close with him, so I think that also affected Natalie's view towards Star Wars.
Yeah, people they were viscerally angry towards him for for essentially just playing a character that was written on
for doing a job that he was paid to do. He did what he was asked to do.
Insane.
I'm glad you brought that up, Justin, because I believe it was just last week. Natalie, again, who probably doesn't love the Star Wars universe or the fan that comes with it, but she actually participated in May the 4th on social media. I think I got this from Justin's profile or a story share. But she shared a shot with her and Ahmed basically saying, hey, we are great friends now.
Well, like the fact that she joined Thor again is a really great sign for Star Wars fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You think it's going to get her back in and doing some flashback stuff or what?
She's leaning towards it because you see Ahmed, he got back into it. Hayden is like making it back. It's only a matter of time. Like Ewan's there. Like who else are we missing?
All right, so
Sam will come back at any moment.
Mace lives, motherfucker.
He's there.
Mace lives. So Justin.
He'll come.
Yeah, are you thinking we could maybe get a super surprise in Kenobi, possibly?
Yeah. I think so.
That's not a bad bit of speculation, and I'm with you too. Especially if we get a Clone Wars era flashback with the generals, it would be a great nod or a tip of the hat to the fandom to include some Padme Amidala into either a holo recording. Or maybe she's with General Skywalker. Who knows? But I'm liking that. I would definitely be down.
Who do you guys think he was talking about in that interview with Jimmy Kimmel?
I don't even know if Nick saw that yet. But that's going to be one of our topics. It can't be anyone he's worked with in the movies because he said it.
It's Kid Luke. It's Kid Luke.
He said he's never acted with the person before, and he's not technically related to him. It's
Kid Luke, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not even a question. like it's if it's not Kid Luke, then I have no clue who it is. But like we all know that little boy Luke Skywalker is going to be in this movie, and that fits the description perfectly. Of like never worked with him before, not technically related to him, but is very important to Obi-Wan Kenobi, of course. Kid Luke.
Yeah, I mean, he said special scene and a very, very special to him, to like you and himself. So who knows? What's your guess, Justin?
I don't know.
What's your guess? Since
well, at first I was thinking, well, I think it's just like wishful thinking that it's Natalie, but she's obviously worked with him before,
he did say that they have. He doesn't think he's ever filmed a scene, and we just have to hope that he hasn't embodied his character from Trainspotting and actually does all those drugs and forgot that he did 3 movies with her. So I think Nick's probably right. I wasn't even thinking that. I was a little too busy before the show, so tip of the hat to my co-host there, but I think that's probably a good call.
Well, a little inside scoop, when I was at the set, I was talking to the guy, and what they were filming was like a villager scene. Mm-hmm. So it was Ant-Man of villagers, kind of like Middle Eastern looking guys.
Okay.
So
Justin lives out in LA, so he has access to, like I said, I mean, go look at his IG at SW Props. I mean, one of his most recent shares is him in that kind of mountain area where Rodriguez shot his episode of the Mando. So he definitely knows where the spots are at, where to go, how to rub elbows with these people, and that's why he's here. I'm always interested in fans that can kind of find their way into some access or getting nuggets about this galaxy that we love so much. So Justin, back to your Star Wars. I mean, we now know that it was the prequels and Natalie Portman started it all. I love that story, by the way, because a lot of times with Star Wars fans, it's family related. It's a friend got me into it. Not for Justin. It's 100% my balls got me into it. Right?
Like, fact that I'm a prop collector, you can imagine my collection for Natalie. It's like insane.
I can't even imagine.
You have the shrine.
I'm sure. Do you have have her little chrome pistol from the Phantom Menace? I'm guessing.
That's something special that I haven't even. It's in the works because I'm gonna get it signed by her.
Oh.
And I didn't want people, copying my idea. But the thing is, like, I've been working on this since last year, and I got to scan the original nice. Prop. So it's exactly like the one from the movie.
Yeah, and if you haven't noticed, what we're looking at right now, that is one of Justin's collectibles. So, I mean, he's got Boba.
Do you guys want me to put it out on this?
What's that?
Do you guys want to see the Padme?
Yeah, dude, we'll see whatever you want to show off. I don't want to ruin any of your plans, but if you want to break it out, let's do it.
No, I mean, I've been trying to keep it a secret for a while, but if you guys want to see it, I don't know. It's up to you guys.
No one watches or listens to this show anyway, so it's still going to be secret. So if you're willing to share, let's check it out.
It is exclusive. There we go. On the show.
A Star Wars Time Show exclusive. We need a soundboard like yesterday. But anyways, while we're waiting for Justin, the graphic you're looking at, if you've been on the live stream, that's one of his collectibles, and I believe that's a legit bust of Boba Fett and the movie props of his rifle and blaster signed by Jeremy. So, I mean, the guy doesn't mess around. Like, I mean, even while he's gone, look behind him. He's got... He not only will he collect a prop, but then he kind of builds a scene around it. He's got Vader's saber with a Vader bust there. He's got the life-size Yoda. Here he comes.
Here we go.
There it is.
There's
her chromed out blaster from the Phantom Menace. It's got the
this is real metal. It's like 5 pounds.
So Justin, when you say you had it scanned, then do you commission someone to build them for you?
Yeah, so I've been, a lot of my builders have been getting stolen from me, and people are like copying my ideas, and you know how it is. You want something unique. Right. So I had to commission a guy from France for this. He's like a wood maker, so he actually made this from like really vintage wood.
Oh, looks fantastic. Wow.
And he matched like the streaks from the movie.
That's
So
insane.
I gotta ask, man. Someone that spends a pretty penny on Star Wars, what's an average cost for one of these projects for you?
Closer to like 3,000.
That sounds about
Okay.
right.
Something like where's the because you've seen Phantom Menace, you know she has like a short barrel as well, so you can like screw it in.
The snub nose. Wow. So that actually is retractable as well. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, for that level of workmanship,
for
it to be
great.
that screen accurate, that's
fantastic.
amazing.
So I can guarantee you this is as accurate as it gets because we like scan the original.
And then, like I was saying when you were off camera, though, but you also kind of build out. I don't want to say a scene, but it's almost like you'd almost see in a church where you have a prop, but the prop is related to other props. Like we're looking at your Boba Fett. You tend to get them signed, numbered, all that fun stuff.
Well, that's because you guys can relate to this. We run out of room.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, do you have a warehouse to keep all that? Because even just looking at the Boba thing, I mean that's got to take up some space because it's in a nice little. It looks like a glass container. You got it. You got the rifle propped up. You got the blaster propped up.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Look, there it is. If you're on the live stream, you can see it in the background there.
Yeah.
No, it's all my life-size stuff is in my room, so it's I'm running out of space. But Devin's like, well, that's what you get for collecting life-size, statues.
Yeah, man.
Like,
if you keep this up for another year or two, you're probably gonna have to expand or get yourself a warehouse of some sort.
You guys are.
Oh, whoa!
It's
got the full-size Jar Jar.
Jesus.
Look at that. That's the original. That's like so was that the original Graflex? Like the original handle that they use for the blade? I know
he has that.
Well, not like original, but.
Yeah, so I sent you that photo.
All right, let's pull this up because that's a good one to talk about. The original Graflex from an old camera, right? It's the old camera flash arm.
Yeah. So a lot of people, they get into the whole original Graflex. You can still find them like on eBay. But I went as far as finding every little, vintage nut, vintage whatever that was actually used on the movie. So everything of mine is exactly what they use on the movie.
Wow. That's so incredible. I mean, that's just next level.
So I got the image up now on the live stream. For those of you who are watching, you can see the whole collection of the Graflex. And like you say, he's not fucking around. I mean, he's got the full camera in there, but he's also got it broken down into the lightsabers that were Luke's built from it.
Yeah, and a lot of people they'll convert them into the lightsaber. I kept it in the original form because it's just a cool display. Like you can see the calculators, the bubble strip from Luke's lightsaber, so it's still in the calculator. And then all
right, so that's what the calculator's for. There's an actual part from the calculator that they used on the saber.
Yeah, you've seen Luke's lightsaber.
Yes,
I'm sure you guys have.
Yeah.
Yep. It's also on Vader's saber.
Okay. Yeah, that's incredible. Like this, like you said, this display, having this display, like this almost looks like it's a museum piece. Like you would walk through even like a film history museum and they would have a display exactly like this. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's fun. It's called found prop collecting. So you find they're just everyday stuff that George and the people at ILM used to make the props. They just grabbed anything they could. So it could be like a bathroom toilet piece or anything. And people go crazy for them because it was used in Star Wars. But it's like,
I mean, honestly, this is one of my favorite displays of yours. And Nick is right. You have a fucking museum in your room. You might as well just start printing tickets and charging motherfuckers to walk through.
No, I mean, the girlfriend and the fiance, I shouldn't say girlfriend.
Hey, congratulations.
Once we get a place, I mean, I'm gonna, how it is. You buy a place specifically for your collection. You're like, okay, I can put this there. I can put that there.
You might have to move from California just so you can have a basement to fit all this shit in.
That's hard. Even Devin, he's struggling with it. He's like, it's so expensive out here.
I mean, you got to be able to dig down into the earth. You got to come up north a little bit where I'm at and get yourself a big man cave. Oh.
Yeah,
because Matt's got an entire, like the entire basement is, we call it Star Wars Time HQ. So.
I get also the people who live out there because they have basements full of just
That's what
space.
I mean. You basically have your whole home's footprint to take for collectibles, but it's out of the purview of the normal viewing of your home. So if your fiance or whatever doesn't want all that shit upstairs like my wife, you'd be like, all right, we'll keep it down the man cave, but it's mine. I get to decorate it exactly how I want to.
That's what you got to see. You got to get a room. So like even because I live in Austin, Austin's getting very expensive too. So, but you just got to get a house with one room that is your office, quote unquote, your off. That's what my office is. You can see I have my bookshelves with toys and shit on it. I got my Star Wars pictures in the background. So eventually this room will become much more filled with posters and toys and stuff like that, collectibles. You got to have at least one room that is just dedicated to your geekiness.
Well, see, Devin got lucky because his parents have like a little back house, and he's like, can I like take this back house? And he turned it into a whole.
Check that shit out. How's
man
that?
cave.
What a lucky
there you
guy.
Go. Yeah. Get a house with a pool. Use the pool house for all of your stuff.
Yeah, just be careful with decorating because I have essentially turned my decor into a TGI Fridays or an old Max and Irma's, if people know what they are. There is not one bit of wall space showing anymore. It's nothing but Star Wars posters.
Well, you know the bad part is when your aunt, uncle, or whoever, your cousins are like, oh, he's a Star Wars fan, so they'll get you like a bathroom robe or something like. That's not what I collect. That's just gonna take up room. And
you're like, no, I want these old ass cameras and shit. People, don't send me bathrobes.
It's like you gotta come up with a Christmas list. It's like, if you want to get me Star Wars things, here's what I want. I want prop or screen used Mace Windu lightsaber. Can you find that? All right. If you can't get that, then don't worry about it.
Exactly.
No, I do. I mean, going back to the Graflex display, I mean that's probably one of my favorite I've seen of yours, just because of the history behind the filmmaking, the prop making. Just looking at the camera itself, you can see the lightsaber in it. That's what is probably my favorite part. I mean, you can literally see the lightsabers in the camera.
You can imagine how lucky they got, right? Because they probably saw camera store and we're like, perfect lightsaber.
It's right there. I mean, the hilt, the top of the hilt's there, and like Justin said, he collected some of the other intricate pieces that came from other just random things to go on it. But just seeing that display, it's like the history of how these lightsabers were produced.
This the bottom piece right here.
Yes.
There's like two little rivets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's the bottom of every of the Empire Strikes Back Luke, and this is an actual camera flash as well, original. And there's the two rivets.
I mean, it's like they I mean, I know they added some stuff to it, but they really had a functioning hilt right off of these camera flashes, and it's beautiful. Now people like Nick and I are spending $300 to buy fat, oversized ones when.
But then also you have these fabricators and these companies out there like Force Forum, or you have, Vader's Vault, and they do these incredible 1-to-1 replicas of them, and they catch everything that Justin does. Like they try to get as many original pieces as they can. It's awesome.
All right, Justin. Before we look at another one of your collectibles here, what's your favorite Star Wars film then? Out of the 9, I guess we'll say. Or no, we'll include Solo and Rogue One. They can go in there.
The 11.
I'm gonna let you guys guess on that one based on what I told
you. I mean, it's got to be Rox, right?
He's probably a Revenge of the Sith guy.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Well, I guess you and I can't. You and I can't be friends anymore.
Matt, you're no
longer interview over.
Like, I'm losing connection.
It's like, oh no, we lost Justin for some reason. He just dropped out right after that.
That's weird. Revenge of the
Sith.
Sith. No, I get it. I mean, a lot of people that are prequel fans, that's going to be their go-to because I mean,
it's also like the prequels for me was I wanted to see Vader's story. Like I wanted to see out, but we got a lot more of that in Clone Wars, right?
We got the real in it. Thank you. So that's why. Okay. The connection's fixed. Now he can. Oh, yep. The light just went green again. We're good. We got good connectivity. Thanks, Justin. Sorry about that. We didn't want to kick you off early, but okay. Favorite character? I think we know this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tie between Anakin and Padme.
Did you prefer her as the queen or the senator?
The queen, but she wasn't really a queen for that long. So when you see her in Clone Wars, you get more respect for her.
You see what she really could do versus just wearing those crazy ass costumes that she had to stay perfectly straight up and down for.
Yeah, can't move her head. The whole thing would just come off.
I mean, she had an outfit every scene. It's crazy.
Well, it was what outfits and hair. That was George's deal with her. All right, standout moment from the franchise, good sir. What's a moment that if you had to be like, hey, this is why I do what I do. This
as far as
just a moment from the Star Wars films that if someone comes up to you, be like, hey man, why do you collect all this shit? Why do you like Star Wars so much? You're like, well, it's just this one moment really resonated with me. It made me feel this way, or reminded me of this person. Like me, I always go to the fight between Luke and Vader in Return of the Jedi. That is it for me. That is my Star Wars. It kind of embodies what I remember about Star Wars, the whole father-son dynamic and whatever fucked up relationship I have with my own dad. So that's mine. I mean, what for you? Like, if you had to be like, hey, now this is, you watch this scene, you'll be hooked.
It's really tough because there's so many good moments right throughout everything. Even Clone Wars is like my favorite. Like the finale season. Oh my god, it's crazy. But for like just because it's fresh in my memory, I have to say the Luke reveal in Mandalorian. That was like I was in tears. I was like, I didn't think Star Wars could make me cry again.
Yeah, I don't think any of us super fans were quite prepared for that emotional gut punch.
No,
I mean, even my dumbass on the show, as we were predicting what would happen in 8, I was saying, I'll sit here and cane myself if Luke shows up because they're not going to do it. They're not going to do the CGI de-aging shit. There's no way. He's a sacred cow. And sure as fuck, you see that X-Wing coming through the window of the bridge of Moff Gideon's ship, and you're going, what? Wait, huh? No, there's no way. Somehow Ezra got an X-Wing. There's no way. And then you see the cloak, and then the hilt comes out, and it's green, and you go, "What the fuck? They did it!"
I think I'm more emotional because that saber has always been like one of my top favorite ones, and when I got it signed by Mark Hamill, and that hilt. When I saw that scene, I was like, "Please be Mark Hamill, not just a CGI." And when I found out it was really him, I was like.
It was a beautiful moment that I don't think anyone will soon forget. Hey, Justin, someone that does collect these props and then gets them signed, have you had any bad experiences with the celebrities, like kind of treating you like a shithead?
No, not really, because it's almost like an art in itself, You can't just say, hey, can I get your autograph? Like, you have to have some, like, building there.
Yeah.
But tell you the worst autograph signer in the world, not just Star Wars, is Natalie Portman.
She just was like, I fucking hate you, and like slaps a line across the thing, or what?
She won't sign.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, she just won't. She won't even look at you. She'll like look through you.
That's insane. So have you tried like in multiple different places to try to get her to sign something?
Well, I did attend an event with her where I sat next to her, but it was one of those like Oscars kind of events where I'm like, I can't just pull that. I just can't pull my like Star Wars prop out of my pocket. And,
hey,
she'd be like,
I've got something in my pocket for you, Natalie. She'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. So, but she is the toughest signature to get. which is why she's like worth like 3,000 plus.
So that's your ultimate goal then on that gun prop is to break through her wall and get her to sign it.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, right now I have an image of Justin and Bill Burr up on the live stream. This is one of his celebrity signings here. How was that one? I could see Burr either being really cool or kind of a dick.
He is usually a dick because he's a comedian and he
doesn't really like Star Wars, even though I think it's gotten him even more of a broader appeal.
I think it's growing on him because when he saw my helmet, he was doing a comedy show. When he got out, he was like, "No way!" I think because he saw all the other signatures on my helmet, he was just like, "No way! What is that?" And he's like, "Are you serious right now?" And then I'm like, "Would you mind signing?" He's like, "You want me on that thing?" And I sent you another photo. I had him do like
I'll throw it up now while you're talking.
Really matched the helmet because he says that to Mando.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. So I got that up now. I've got the actual signature there.
So I had him write the quote and then the character name, and then he automatically was like, "Do you want me to give you my home address and my fax too?" He was just really like witty with his responses.
As expected. I mean, I guess that's pretty cool because I could see Burr. He's naturally has that, and this isn't a bad thing. A lot of comedians are this way. It's just that dickish personality. Like, what the fuck are you doing here, you loser? Get the fuck out of here. That type of shit.
Yeah. But that's why comedians are usually the easier. Like when I saw Bill Burr was in Star Wars, I was like, thank God. Like, because Star Wars is usually the hardest fandom to get signatures from.
Let's kind of
Marvel.
Let's talk about that, Justin. What type of work goes into? We're looking at you've got Din's helmet here. So what type of work goes into scouting out the actors and actresses and then getting in front of them and getting the signature? I mean, what goes into this process?
It's a lot of research, and then me being a photographer, I'm in the field already, so I go to premieres. I go to I'm usually like backstage photographer, so I kind of build relationships already. So by the time I see them, they know who I am. Oh. But there's people on the streets who are just they're asking for autographs, and usually those guys are just there to sell it. Mm-hmm. For me, all for my personal collection. So that's why I said it's all about the approach. If you just go to a Bill Burr and you're like, "Can you sign this?" Like there's no, meaning behind that, then you'd get a different response.
So are you hearing this, autograph collectors? Because I know there's a lot of you, and there's a lot of shitheads, like he just said, that go out and they'll like send little kids out to get autographs, and then they take them and flip them.
You're gonna. So I brought Devin on my first autograph mission, and he was just like, he always thought like, oh, this is really frowned upon. And then when I brought him to the Mando premiere, he was like, wow, there's a bunch of animals, like they're just like ruthless.
They're like the paparazzi, right? Like these signature people.
Pretty much like paparazzi, yeah. But I told Devin to do it the right way, and then he was like, he had an amazing experience, and then he's like, okay, now I forgive you. Like, okay, this is really fun. Like,
yeah, no, that's kind of what I was getting at. I mean, seeking the autographs and not being a douche about it it's a hobby in and of itself. It's like it's an attachment to the hobby of collecting. It's a whole other. It's almost like a sport.
It is a sport, and the best time of the year is usually Celebration. Mm-hmm. That's like the best time because the Star Wars actors are expecting fan interaction. Yeah,
but don't you have to pay for them at that point? Like, don't they shake you down to wait in the line?
Yeah, that comes back down to the whole interaction. You meet them at the bar. If you have a conversation, then they'll open up to you. But if you're just there trying to get an autograph, you're probably not going to get it.
You're just another one in the queue that paid their money, and they'll come up and take a picture with you and sign it, but there's really no meaning or intent behind it. It's just, stamping it off. Like, all right, I'm Hayden. I charge you $50 a pop. You're going to get the same photo, the same stamp. Here we go. No, that is cool. I mean, because I know, I mean, this isn't something I collect, but I would have to imagine the experience of kind of scouting this stuff out, going there, and then having the balls to get it done has to be a high in and of itself in this form of collecting.
It's definitely a high because you also, just like you guys, we speculate what actor is going to be who. So right now, on my radar is who's going to play Admiral Thrawn. You know?
Yeah.
That's my next mission. So I usually try to find out who it is before they get announced, because once they're announced, they're harder to get.
You thinking they're going to do Lars then and just carry him through like they did with Katie?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Right? I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the look. He's already got the voice. It really is the same thing that Katie Sackhoff did with Bo-Katan. So,
yeah. And that's why Katie was really special to me, because I don't think that's ever happened before.
Let's talk about that one, Justin, because this is another one just going through your feed that really kind of interested me in your story and what you do with your fandom. And this is, I guess, kind of set it up for us. It sounds like this is another prop that you had made for you based on official scans, or am I incorrect?
Yeah, let me, sorry, my phone's dying real quick. Let me get a charger.
All right, while he's getting a charger, I'm gonna pull up the helmet here.
Yeah, man, seeing these images, and then, well, one, just seeing the images themselves, and then two, seeing, like the fact that he was able to meet Katie and have her, sign the helmet, and then also, I mean, like, put the helmet on. I mean, that's pure craziness. I mean, I don't know, like, that's just like a dream scenario.
Yeah. Like, I mean, to me, it just seems like a fun little interaction between fan and celeb. All right, looks like he's charging up here. I'm just getting shots of Katie with the helmet because these are pretty cool. If you like Katie, or if you just like Bo-Katan, ooh, this one's even a little video of her putting it on. Yeah,
video of her putting it on, and you get to see some, some stills of her with it on. I mean, that's insane, man. That's so cool.
When she wanted to try it on, I was like, is mine officially screen worn? Not screen, but it's officially worn.
Yeah. Now it's a worn prop for sure. Yeah. I mean,
probably find her like hair strands in mine.
So, yeah, I know, right? Like, Justin, let's kind of break this down again. Where did that helmet come from? Was this another one you had commissioned and made for you for this purpose?
Oh, so this was a special one because when Bo-Katan's always been one of our, like, my favorites personally, from the Clone Wars and Rebels. And when she made her live action debut, I knew right away as a prop collector, that's what I wanted her to sign, like the helmet. Because the live action helmet looks a lot different than the animated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So right away I started figuring out how we're going to make this. No one was even thinking about it. And then I started working with 3D modelers on making it as accurate as possible, because there's people who are already dabbling with it, but I'm obsessed. You guys can probably get an idea of this, but I'm obsessed with screen accuracy.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I want it came off of the screen. So we've been working on it. Me and his name's Jason Props. He's the builder, and we've been working on it since the debut of Bo-Katan. And it wasn't until I think like February or March I finally got it in front of Katie, and she just freaked out. She's like, she told me, we didn't get to take any of our props home. Like, how do I get me one of these? Like, she was saying in Battlestar Galactica she was able to just like take home all the stuff.
Yeah.
But with Star Wars, she was like, there was a person assigned to each part of my costume. Like, there was a person staring at my yeah, she said it was. And so I'm gonna surprise her and make her.
Oh, look at you! Look at you!
That's incredible.
He could be
That's
Mr.
awesome.
Katie Sackhoff here in a year's time.
Have you seen her fiance?
No.
I think she may have posted some Instagram photos with him or something.
Yeah, that dude is like the lucky. He's a Star Wars fan, so I'm like, how lucky can you be? And she met him She met him on the set of like Another Life that she's filming in Canada.
Okay.
Like, how lucky can you be?
That's
yeah,
pretty awesome.
I've got the shot up now where it looks like it's in your shelf. So you got the figure with the helmet, it's worn, it's signed, and you even get these placards made, right? Like an official Star Wars The Mandalorian Bo-Katan for her to sign in, signature edition. So you really, I mean, these are custom made props that have now been graced by the actual actress.
Yeah, and that's usually why I try to stay away from the licensed stuff, just because everyone and their mom can get them.
Yeah.
So it's just me being like, I want to be unique. You know, it's not.
How did you get introduced to Katie? Because it looked like you were at some sort of Funko Pop signing event at first. I mean, was this through a convention or did you network this deal?
No, there's no conventions going on. That's why the celebrities are like, they're fresher because not everyone's getting them. But the funny thing with Katie was I've been trying to get her for a long time just because of The Mandalorian, and she had a send-in service through her website, and her mom actually runs it. So I emailed her, and it was her mom, and I was like, I really need to get this helmet in front of Katie, and she's like, oh, well, she's doing a couple of cons like later in the year. I'm like, no, like I need to be the first. And she's like, what? She's like, why? What's so special about it? And then I sent her a photo, and she goes, oh, okay. And she's like, all right, we need to get you in front of Katie. And then Katie was like filming and doing all these side projects. So I waited until her mom contacted me and like set up a meet.
That's incredible. See, I would never even have the idea to do that, to be like, you know, to stress the urgency of like being first. I would just be like, okay, well, if she's going to do a con, I'll just show up there, I guess. But that, like, you going out and doing that. Yeah.
Well, that's, you know, she's doing a con with Giancarlo, you know, who plays Moff Gideon at the end of the year for New Jersey. If anyone's in New Jersey, they're doing a con with Katie Sackhoff and even Emily Swallow. But with Giancarlo, I you know, when he was teased to have the Darksaber, I was like, all right, I need to be the first to like get him on a Darksaber. So even before like he was doing anything, I had to find him right away and get the first one done.
And
I'm pulling that up now.
First signed Darksaber right
I'm pulling
there.
It up now.
Yes.
Giancarlo Esposito, Moff Gideon. I mean, like that is.
The crazy thing about that one is I got that the week after the finale. Remember when they showed him? And I got it a week after, so he was like blown away. He was like, how did you get this? But it was obviously not the Mandalorian version, but it's the Clone Wars version. I was like, I just want to be the first. So, but now they're releasing the Hasbro one. You've seen that one, right?
I'm actually getting that one. I haven't collected a lightsaber in years, but this one I could not pass up on.
It's weird for that one. It's Hasbro, but it looks really good.
Yeah, it looks slick. So I'm excited to get that one in.
Yeah, so
they're getting better with their saber builds, I will say. Like, because I've seen like the old like Force Effects sabers were real dinky trash. Like, they like the blades were attached. You couldn't take the blades off. That's why I had never bought like a Hasbro Force Effects saber prior to the Palpatine one that I just showed, was because they were always so low quality. And now with the Master Effects Elite, at least they're stepping up their game a little bit, being a little bit more screen accurate, actually making it out of a full metal chassis. So
it would get to like ever. And the Disneyland ones are, I feel like, going backwards for some reason. Like,
yeah, because I have one of the first Disney Parks Kylos that's like on my shelf back there, and I was actually pretty impressed by that because that looked like a hefty saber when you saw it on screen.
Yeah.
And when I got it and I picked it up, I was like, wow, this actually kind of feels like, to me, it feels like what it would have felt like to use on screen. And I thought that they did a really good job with that one, but yeah, it seems like they're just making them even bigger. One question I have for you, like, it seems like doing this, like building these custom fabricated props, getting these incredible signatures. Not only are you just getting the experiences and you're getting these cool pieces of memorabilia, but like you're just building stories. Like you have so many stories about these interactions with these incredible actors. What's one of your favorite stories of like either how you got the autograph or like the interaction that you had with the person and like when you were getting the autograph? Do you have any particular favorite?
It'd probably have to be Mark Hamill because I got into the game late. Like I wasn't prop collecting late, but autograph collecting is very new. I think I started 2018, and at that point, Mark Hamill stopped signing in 2017. So it was virtually impossible to get him to sign anything. And even if you saw him on the street one-on-one, he would not sign your stuff just because he's like, I'm retired from signing. And the last con he did was Celebration Orlando and New York Comic Con. So I literally just missed it. And when I started YouTubing videos about him signing, the neighborhood I was actually living in, he had a street named after him in San Diego because he grew up there. And when I saw the video, this was 2017, and remember I got into the hobby 2018. So he was signing for like the neighborhood for like hours. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I literally just missed it. So he was the hardest, besides Natalie Portman, the hardest like to get a signature from. So I kept going to his events, kept asking him. And then there was an event for Stan Lee's memorial, and I got backstage because I was photographing the event. And I brought my saber. It's this one right here. And I said, hey, this is not just a replica. This is like the production. And he's just like, oh, I can't sign right now. Like, I don't care what it is. I can't sign. And I'm like, oh, come on. And then it was just me and him, and he just wouldn't sign. And the reason this is my favorite is I kept bothering him about it. I kept and it wasn't until the Rise of Skywalker premiere, we were in the same theater. He saw it again. He's like, you know what? Just give me this, and then he signed it. And the funny thing is, he like was so rushed. He was so in a rush that he like got his fingerprint and smeared it. And I'm like, I was kind of mad at the time, but I'm like, oh, I actually have his fingerprint now too.
Yeah, it's like, look at that. Now you can verify. You don't even need.
It's like a tattoo.
You don't need a certificate of authenticity. You have the man's fingerprint right there on the
Justin,
blade.
This shot of Mark, is this one that you took then?
Yeah, so that's actually you probably know about this, Matt.
Funko Fun Days. Yep.
So this was what was this, 2018 or 2019? He surprised everyone with that gold Funko Pop. I didn't even know he was going to be there. It was my first Fun Days, and as you know, at Fun Days they give you like the prototypes.
Right. Yeah.
They give all these freebies, and I'm like, I'm just here to get freebies because And then he freaking comes out on stage. I'm like, what the hell is he doing here? And then he that gold Funko, which was only like 60 or 80 made. And I was like freaking out. I was like, what is he doing here? But he signed like a handful of them, and then those are like worth a lot now.
Yeah. So if everyone's listening here, I hope you're taking notes on what Justin does in the size of his testicles. All right. I mean, I'm talking bowling ball size nuts on this man to go out and do all this and just kind of put himself out there. He's not afraid to hear no. I know a lot of us sometimes you don't want to do this stuff because you don't want to feel awkward. You don't want to get a no thrown at you. But as Justin has shown, with persistence, you can achieve your goals.
The funniest one is Samuel Jackson. That's the funniest one because he curses you out every single time.
I bet. Wait, he probably sees you now. He's like, "Oh, here comes this motherfucker again."
he always goes, "How the fuck did you find me?" Like, and then if you keep finding him, the persistence works with him. He goes, "You know what? If I sign this for you, will you leave me alone?" And I'm like,
"Oh, I love it."
So he's a funny. He always curses you out though, like every single time.
That's great though. That's like authentic Sam. That's what I would expect nothing less from him. If I didn't get cursed out, I'd be upset.
Yeah, like it's not even because you're doing something bad. Like that's just how he talks. Which is hilarious.
Yeah, it seems like, I don't know if anyone else knows this, probably outside of Devin, but SW Props has another account, and Justin, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it at Justin Nunez official or just at Justin Nunez?
It's at Justin Nunez studio.
Okay, and he is a professional photographer. It looks like he goes out and shoots, as he's been telling us, celebrity events. He's got clients as well, and I think you're hearing some of the access that this profession has provided, Justin, and he has kind of taken the ball and run with it. I mean, he's just casually thrown out, I was at the Mando premiere with these people. I was at the Tross premiere hanging out with Hamill, getting my lightsaber signed. So, Justin, have you found that the photography job or gig has opened up a lot of these doors or given you access to some of these events to get this done?
Oh, yeah, because the events I get invited to, they give you like guest lists, you know, like you can see who's coming, and you get to build relationships with them.
Because they probably see the same amount of pool photographers or whatnot, or press. I'm assuming you get a press or a journalistic pass. You're probably on red carpets if they have them, or behind the scenes. So how'd that start out? Were you like a fashion photographer, or you just did photography and fashion? Okay.
That's where it is. And believe it or not, I see a lot of the Star Wars people there all the time, like John Boyega, Oscar Isaac sometimes. They love fashion events. And saw Daisy Ridley one time. But yeah, that's where it originated, just shooting these like fashion, high-end, like, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, that kind of stuff. These fashion shows, the production's insane. Like the one I did in Paris, it was in front of the Eiffel Tower, and I don't want to know how much they spent on these things, but just being there, you're around the celebrities, and it's a fun time. But with COVID, I haven't done a fashion show in like a couple of years now.
Slowed down a bit, I bet.
Yeah.
Are you getting any work right now during COVID? I mean, is it?
Yeah, so it's picking up just because a lot of photographers who are your competition don't want to work because of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
Got you.
So it's it actually worked out for me, like the less competition.
Yeah. I saw that picture. You got a dope ass picture of you and Mike Tyson on a boat together too. I saw that. How was that? How was meeting Iron Mike? Was he as crazy as he seemed?
Oh, he's even crazier than he seems. Like he was just like kind of like going on tangents, like not really all there. Like he's just rambling, and I'm like trying to direct him, and he just starts rapping. I'm like, all right, I guess this is who he is.
Just got to roll with it. I mean, at that point, I believe he was also smoking $40,000 of weed a month. I believe that's what he said he does.
He's got his own weed farm.
So you got him extra special. I mean, he already had a few screws loose from getting beat in the head, but now he's all doped up. But no, I mean, Justin, trust me, the guy has a very interesting story. Documents it pretty well on his social media. Obviously, the Star Wars stuff on at SW Props. But his other photography, real life photography, not the toy stuff that we talk about mostly on this show, on his other account. So back to your collection as we kind of wrap things up here. Do you care to give us an estimate for your total collection in terms of a dollar value?
I don't even know, to be honest with you. I kind of thought about that because I've had personal friends in the hobby who have passed away. And I always thought, like, if I passed away tomorrow, how would my sister, my fiance, know how much these are worth? Like, they're not going to know. So I do have to, you have to get insurance on these things. And that's when you really have to, okay, how much do these cost? Like, what's the value? But no, I haven't gone that down, I haven't even thought about it.
I mean, I'm going to throw out a guess. I'd say we're talking at least $25K at this point in time.
Oh man, I would go even higher. But I mean, knowing how much you put, monetary value.
Right. That's just what he pays to build the shit. I'm talking about if he sold it. Yeah, it's probably double the 25,000.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Seems like Justin may have frozen a little bit. He did tell us that he might run into some connectivity issue, so hopefully he comes back pretty soon. But yeah, I mean, life size.
Oh, there he goes.
There we go. Snap back.
He's back.
He's back. Okay. But yeah, I mean, if you look behind Justin, you see the life-size Watto, the life-size Yoda, and all of the other, like, you're not only paying for the prop, and if you're like buying these items, you're paying for the experience, you're paying for the autograph, you're paying for all of the work that went into getting these authenticated and everything else. I mean, like, this is, I mean, in terms of personal value to you, Justin, I imagine it's just like priceless. If somebody came up to you, you'd just be like, no, thank you.
Oh yeah, people message me all the time, and it's just the same thing as like the Funko Pops we talk about. When there's so much that goes into it, it's hard to let it go. It's like your baby, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but if you buy something that you can buy later, there's a different, feeling behind that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
When it's custom made, it's hard.
Hey, Justin, at this point in time, would you say the allure to you is more the experience of thinking about a collectible, charting out the signatures, meeting the people? Is that why you do it more so than actually having the item at this point in time?
Yeah, it's more having that experience with the actor. Like, I'm doing it with Katie right now, and she's freaking out. She's like, I gave her a couple things already, and she's just like, I really wanted to leave the set with all the props, and I couldn't. So, and her fiance was like, did you 3D print these? I'm like, no, these aren't like low level 3D printed. Like, the same materials used on the show, fiberglass and resin. So it's just seeing that reaction that they get when they're Star Wars fans too. Right. So
some of them. I wouldn't say all of them. Some of them definitely.
Well, Katie's like a diehard. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's fantastic because I mean, she's a dork and nerd like the rest of us, and is proud of it. So, when you two are best friends, don't forget to mention the Star Wars Time show. We'd love to have her on as a guest, and we might have our man right here being the middleman to get that done. So,
well, Devin made sure not to that I didn't forget to like ask you guys. Are you guys going to Celebration?
So I know that in 2022 is going to be in Anaheim, right? That's the Anaheim one. Okay, yeah. So initially when it was in 2020, we were planning to not go because we had just come back from the Chicago one. In 2022 though, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's more of a possibility.
I was gonna say we're gonna be talking 3 years since our last celebration, and I can even now I'm starting to feel the itch. The show's got a little more popular. We have a little more of a following. We've met some more fans. We have our Discord now, so I think I'm leaning more towards attending. I don't have anything yet. I'm gonna have to hopefully get media badges, but we're not quite big enough to get two. I don't think so.
It's okay.
I think at this point in time, we may try to get out there. At least that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, because we keep talking about it. We'd love to have you guys here and just hang out.
Yeah, I would like to just, run into a lot of you people that we tricked into listening to this little silly show once a week. I mean, come on. You're most the 10 of you are why we get up and do this anymore. So, I totally want to meet the Star Wars Time Show fan base at large. But more importantly, we got Justin's going to be, he'll be getting us behind the red velvet rope. He's going to be on first name basis with Katie at that point in time. He's going to be like, Katie, she'll be like, Justin, my man, what's going on? We'll be handing out Star Wars Time Shows hats while no one's looking. So I would love to link up with you and Devin and anyone else for sure.
No, I mean, I told Devin this, like, you guys are obviously our favorite podcast, but the reason why I love you guys so much is it's like when I'm editing late, like countless hours in the middle of the night editing photos, you know how long it takes. I love just having you guys in the background,
Yeah.
just like
Well,
listening.
thank you. We are
Yeah.
good at making
'Cause
white noise. We're definitely good at
Yeah,
that.
'cause we can babble on for 3 hours. So you don't even need to change the show. You
Yeah.
can just keep it on one episode and you can do all your work.
I'm gonna
Exactly.
work on my fan noise next for a white noise sample
just
track.
Some
Just like,
ASMR tracks going. But yeah, I think for Celebration 2022, you could probably put us at a solid 70% now, and then we'll keep you updated as we get closer to the date. But I am feeling like a 2022 Anaheim Celebration could be a fun time for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and after the first, was that your first one too in Chicago?
Oh no,
That was my first
bro!
one.
I went to Celebration 2 in Indianapolis in 2002 for Attack of the Clones.
How was that?
Insane, because I actually cosplayed, and that was before cosplay was even a thing. I mean, if you think about it, people weren't doing that shit en masse back in 2002.
Yeah.
So I rolled there with my stunt buddy, who is now like, he's pretty high up in the stunt game, works on impressive shit. But we roll out there as a bunch of dildos, 21, 22. I was the short Obi-Wan Kenobi. He made himself the Anakin Skywalker. Leather tunic and all that shit, and we became celebrities for the weekend. Because if you walked around those days and people were dressed up, they're like, holy shit, look at these guys, they must be somebody. And it got us into the really long, we didn't have to wait in a long line to get in. We got interviewed by the local news. I might have been a few too many joints deep to be on local news at that point in time, but oh well. I love Celebration 2. I wish they were still like they were back then, but they've turned into these massive beasts now. But the Celebration 2 and 3 in Indianapolis were, in my opinion, my favorites, just because they were still kind of core to just Star Wars fandom.
Yeah.
It didn't become, you got to have a lottery ticket to watch this or that or this. Every fucking thing was open. You could just walk into their room and listen and leave if you didn't want to stay there. They had community viewing nights, or they'd had the movies in the theaters. It's become a huge read pop circus at this point in time, but that's what happens with anything Star Wars. I mean,
well, that's why I'm curious, because I can't imagine back then there's probably no autographers, no selfie people. It's just
bro,
fans,
there weren't even fucking smartphones in 2002. I mean, people were taking pictures with throwaway cameras still. You know what I mean? I mean, think about 2002. The iPhone wasn't out. There was no camera pictures unless they were those really shitty 0.5 megapixel flip phone joints. So it was wild. It's an experience I'll never forget. I mean, it was that big of a shock and awe walking out in Jedi robes and having 20,000 people stare at you like, what the fuck, are these people high? Yes. Are they weirdos? I mean, it was wild, man. That's all I can say. It was wild. They were still trying to figure out Celebration. I mean, trying to get the exclusives was a shit show, but like I said, it was a little more toned down and focused back in those days compared to what I've been to the past two. I was in the one in Orlando for TLJ, and then the one we all just did in 2019 in Chicago. I did like the Chicago venue.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't like the time of year. I think they should have saved that for the summer, but I loved the Chicago venue and being able
caught out in a snowstorm.
Yeah, fuck that.
Snow troopers, and like it looked like Hoth outside, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was a little too cold though. I was like, hey, we don't want to be in snowing weather waiting to go watch the Mandalorian panel for the first time.
Well, believe it or not, that's where I met Devin for the first time.
Really?
That's awesome.
And you're both
so
California boys that I'm guessing live somewhat close to each other.
Yeah, so he only had like 500 followers at that point, but the lottery system fucked him. Like, he was just like, I got into all the panels, he didn't. So we were scrambling. We were like trying to pay people online. Can I get your ticket? Can I get your ticket? And, got him in, and that moment with the Trossa, with Ian McDermott coming out, that was just insane.
I was in attendance for that one and the Mando panel, and
how crazy was it? That was like a different type of atmosphere.
The Tross panel with Ian and the trailer reveal is one of my favorite Star Wars fan moments of all time because of the electricity in that little arena. I mean, it was. I have my kind of reaction to it. I recorded the trailer from the stands, and I just react naturally to it, and it's about as organic as it gets. I mean, I'm like, woo, yeah, oh, you know, like, oh my god, it's Palpatine, and then, you know, we saw the full movie, and it didn't, like some of the prequels to me, didn't live up to my expectations, but oh well, that moment was fucking awesome, like titty hard on times 10 type of moment.
Oh yeah, like we can't stop talking about that moment. But it was cool because we stayed at the hotel. I think it was the Marriott or something, where all the actors stayed, and like Devin and I like met all the actors at the bar, and it was just insane. And I'm like, is this how every celebration is?
Well, I was just gonna say, if that was your one and only, I'm gonna caution you that they're not like that. Like it's Chicago. And I know every other fan did it, but anyone could get into Celebration without a badge at Chicago, and that doesn't happen anywhere else.
It was the shit show.
I mean, outside of the special events like Justin was talking about, where you did, people were somewhat looking at tickets to get into like the Tross reveal, the Mando reveal. The show itself, no one gave a flying fuck if you had a badge or not. You could just walk right in. You could tour the whole floor. It wasn't until Sunday, Nick, that they actually started putting people on the floor going, hey, let me see your badge. Hey, let me see this.
Yeah, like I was surprised because Matt had left it like a day earlier than me and Taylor did. So we got to use Matt's pass to kind of walk the floor with Taylor, and like, that was the first time I seen anybody look at a badge. I even told her, I was like, you probably don't even need it. Like, you can just walk through whatever. And
the best part was the autograph lines.
Yeah.
Because I got in the autograph line and they didn't even scan my ticket. So all is I U-turned and went around. I think I made 5 laps with Peter Mayhew.
You just be like, hey, it's me again. Can you sign this now? Can you sign this?
No, I did, and unfortunately that was the week he passed away. But
yeah, I know that was the last time that we ever got to see.
I was just milking it because they're not checking. Like it was just
they had no
Celebration cares. Chicago. While I did appreciate the venue because I like the city, I like the transportation, the trains, the rails, all that fun stuff. There was stuff to do at night. They're typically not that loose in terms of how security is ran. I mean, that I don't know if they're trying to course correct from Orlando, because that one was a nightmare. I remember day one, the line was like 6 hours before it even opened. It was 6 hours long. They weren't even letting media in, because I had a media badge for my old website, and they're like, no, you got to wait. I'm like, fuck you, I got to wait. I got appointments at this, and this to talk to X, Y, and Z, and eventually I found the right person and I got in. But Orlando was the complete opposite of Chicago.
I heard that's why Mark Hamill stopped signing too, because it was a total shit show.
It was ridiculous. I mean, basically, if you didn't camp out on concrete at Orlando, you were doing nothing special. Sometimes not even getting onto the show floor for a couple hours. You had to sleep either outside or in their concrete human pens.
Yeah, see, I think we, like Devin and I got lucky. Like, this is our first experience, and we were just like,
the Anaheim one has me slightly itchy, just because getting out there where Anaheim's at, the nightmare of driving in Southern California, period. I mean,
you can always ride with us, so
yeah, we'll just catch rides,
because you pretty much have to basically either fly into LAX or San Diego, right?
Yeah, and like, I'll tell you guys right now, we'll pick you up from the airport.
All right.
There we go. We got transportation set up already.
Got fucking personal Ubers. We're ready to rock and roll.
There we go.
All right.
But D23 happened there. And it was actually like, it went pretty smooth. So I have high hopes for Anaheim.
Yeah, hopefully so, because I know that it can. I feel like 2022 is going to be crazy because people are going to be chomping at the bit to be back out. People are going to be excited to see, because 2022, if you think about it, we should probably get a trailer for, or at least a teaser for the Patty Jenkins movie, the Rogue Squadron. So people are going to be ready to go for that. And then we already know that we're going to get some Disney Plus content reveals and everything. So I think Celebration 2022 is going to be pretty exciting. Whereas if it would have happened in 2020, we were probably looking down the barrel of like a relatively nothing celebration, like no real big reveals. But
I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
what we would have got at 2020 was what they did in November with the, Kathleen Kennedy coming out. Here's all our shows. That was essentially Celebration barfed up in one stage promo there.
Exactly.
All right, Justin. Well, did you want to stick around for a Bad Batch breakdown, or you need to get out of here, right?
No, I can. What time is it? 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
1 o'clock your time.
1 o'clock. Yeah, I can stick around for a bit.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and keep at SW Props on for our Bad Batch S1E2 breakdown. If you have not watched that episode at this point in time, do what we always tell you to do. Take that fist, stare at it, and then punch yourself right in between the nose, and then go watch the episode, all right? Because you're going to have some spoilers inbound. So thanks for sticking around, Justin. It was awesome talking to you, learning about the collectibles trade. Hopefully some of you that are into the prop collecting got some tips from Justin. Don't steal his ideas for the props, but I think he has a lot of good advice for those of you that are into seeking autographs and making special collectibles for yourself, and in the case of Katie Sackhoff, also special to the signee or the celebrity that it was made for. Yeah. I love the Katie story, the Mark story. A lot of good stuff from Justin today, so thanks for sharing. All right. So now it is time for some Star Wars time. Let's go ahead and close Justin's awesome looking collectibles and pull up our Bad Batch post. All right, Justin. So we usually just kind of go around around the table here at first, and just we'll each give our brief opinion on the episode as a whole. Then I'll go through and discuss the Easter eggs I found, as well as talking about some of the key moments, just to catch people up that might not be as astute as a Star Wars fan as we all are. Since I'm the hero, I'll go first.
Yes.
First and foremost, I'm not going to sit here and ever say any content of Star Wars is filler content. I think that's a cheap way of trying to critique or describe an episode that you might have not found up to your likings. And that's not what I'm saying about S1E2, aka Cut and Run. I actually like these types of episodes, gentlemen, because they allow for world and or character building. And I think we got a lot of character building for Hunter and Omega in this episode. And it really kind of galvanized their relationship and kind of highlighted what some of the creators were saying, in that the Hunter-Omega bond is quite similar to the Din and Grogu bond that we just witnessed play out in The Mandalorian. So while it wasn't as action intense, we didn't have as much variety in the galaxy itself or the players in the galaxy, I did find this episode to be quite entertaining and helpful in terms of moving the Bad Batch beyond just a goofy group of clone specialists into these people on the run that also now are forming a family with Omega. Yeah. They're learning to care for each other outside of just the mission, the orders, and clones do what clones do. So I quite enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it was as entertaining as the premiere, but to me, anything Star Wars that adds to the world and builds our characters, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I kind of mirror Matt's sentiments here, where I like the episode. Of course, it's not going to meet the hype and pomp and circumstance around a 75-minute plus premiere episode. That's really built to grab you immediately and pull you in. But it does do a good job of building those character bonds and relationships, especially like seeing that essentially, like when they got to Seleucami and they were talking to Cut, they were basically trying to foist this girl off. They were like, hey, all right, great. We're here. Glad that you're doing well here. You take Omega. We have shit to do. And, it wasn't exactly that, they didn't feel like it was their charge to keep this girl safe. They were like, let's put her on somebody who we trust to a degree. And then we have to get out there and get some work done and try to, fix the galaxy is essentially what they were trying to do. But it was really cool to see how it wasn't Hunter's, heart that was like, no, we can't let her go, or it wasn't any of the people in the Bad Batch that was like, no, we can't let this girl go. It was her coming back. And
it was
saying,
her
like,
herself.
No. Yeah, I want to be here with you guys. I feel like this is my spot. So yeah, it wasn't, it's like episodes that we've seen in the Clone Wars where it's like you have 22 episodes to fill a season. Not all of them can be action-packed bangers. Like sometimes you have some small character building moments, you have some world building moments and stuff like that. So I enjoyed it for what it was. Justin, what'd you think?
Yeah, I agree with you both, because it's kind of like, you guys watch Mortal Kombat, right?
I did. I don't know if Nick watched.
I have
the movie.
watched Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So notice like there was no investment in the characters because there was no character building.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm getting at with this, with Omega, because it's you're kind of figuring out who she is and who she could be. So you need these kind of episodes, because if not, then you're not invested in her.
Exactly.
All
Yeah.
right.
And I think that's going to take a couple of, there's going to be a couple more episodes like this, I think too, where you are seeing this family, like you said, Matt, this family start to come together and bond, and you're going to see, moments of tension between Omega and, potentially some of the Bad Batch, and then between, probably the Bad Batch members themselves saying like, all right, look, we got to get rid of this girl.
Well, I'm pretty sure in this episode when Hunter kind of does his thing without telling the rest of the batch, I believe it's Wrecker says like, hey, where's the girl? Like, where's she at? Let's go. All right. So let's go ahead and we'll break down the eggs first, and then we'll talk about some of the key moments. You never know where the discussion's going to go. But just following along, if you're on the live stream, we're just pulling off of the StarWarsTime.net post, the breakdown that I put out there on YouTube, which, by the way, we'd love for you to subscribe to our... We'd love to you. I'm not drinking yet. Okay, that was just a little flub of the brain there. Give us a sub on YouTube if you haven't already done so. And if you are watching on YouTube now, make sure to like this live stream and leave a comment, even if the comment is derogatory or negative about myself. All right, so Easter eggs. I mean, there was a couple good ones in here, a couple easy ones, a couple just, hey, yeah, it is what it is. Up first, like Nick said, we return to Seleucami. Which was, talked about throughout the prequel era, definitely featured in the Clone Wars. When we meet, one of our next references coming up, the cut character and Sue were actually introduced many, many, many years ago, seasons ago, in the Clone Wars when Captain Rex kind of gets separated from his squad and finds Cut and learns about him being a deserter and what that means. Up next, on Seleucami, we kind of get a double whammy in the form of the Nuna, a.k.a. swamp turkeys, and the Nexu, which the beast, again, was first seen in Attack of the Clones. That's the cat that goes after Justin's lady love, Padme. I forget the Nuna where they first appeared. It might be Rebels. I know I captured it in the video breakdown that no one watches, so it's in there, but sometimes when we get to Showtime, I forget all the little hardcore notes. All right, moving along. Like I said, we knew this was coming. The damn episode title gave it away, but cut and run. So we get references, eggs, if you will, to the Clone Wars in the form of Sue, who is Cut's wife, and then Cut Lawquane, who is the first clone that at least was known or pointed out that he was able to desert the clone army. I mean, he did this way back towards the start of the Clone Wars. And we actually got a good question in our Discord, like, why didn't Cut react to the order? And I explained it. It's kind of like the Winter Soldier. It's like a sleeper agent type of code that you actually have to hear in your head to be activated. So that's why Cut didn't go nuts. And we know why the Bad Batch didn't go nuts, because they were already slightly deformed and some of their chips were fucked up. Crosshairs was really the only one that was quasi-functioning for the Order, which allowed him to fully betray his bros. Another thing I want to make clear, though, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here, the two Twi'lek children, which I have on the next screen here, was it Shay and Jack? Those aren't from Cut.
Yeah.
Okay, I think
That's what I never assumed that they were Cut's
Well,
kids.
there's people on Reddit. I mean, we always have to correct the Star Wars Reddit fans, but they're like, oh, now we might know that Jason's going to look more like a Twi'lek as he ages, and I'm assuming they think that's because Cut is a human that had babies with no. Cut's kind of like the stepdad from my recollection.
Yeah, and also like not enough years have passed since Cut has
exactly. I mean,
for these kids to be this age.
I think people forget that the Clone Wars in total was 3 years long. That's it.
Yeah, these would still be like
you had
children.
Attack of the Clones kicked it off, then the Clone Wars cartoon, and then it was over by the end of Revenge of the Sith. But the children, I did make them as an egg because the name Jack is actually used in one of the Lego Star Wars series for a clone called Jack when the Emperor was trying to make Force clones.
Porkins.
Yeah, Jack.
Porkins' first name is Jack.
Porkins too. So there's all sorts of eggs on this one. All right, we're starting to see that lovely looking Imperial crest, or the logo, is popping up, and we got to see it in the shipyard here on Seleucami. And I did verify it is not the Old Republic crest. The Old Republic rolls with 8 columns, I believe, where the Republic only the Empire only uses 6.
Yes.
You just gotta love the clones at this point. I mean, they're even bigger dickheads than stormtroopers because if anything, they can actually shoot, right?
Yeah, no, it's like these are actual trained killers.
Yeah, I mean they're trained killers that can shoot and they can be programmed to be as big of dicks as they need to be. All right, this little alien right here, she kind of gave us 2 little references. First off, her species is the Alina, which is the same species as good old Rats Tyrell from the Boonta Eve pod race racers, right? See, we go deep sometimes here. But the interesting thing here, boys, and I didn't really know this until I did my research after the episode, but she, by talking to Cut and Hunter, essentially explained to us fans how the whole chain code system came into place in the Galactic Empire. And the chain code system is actually something that is not mentioned until the Mandalorian itself, when he's actually talking about, can I get the chain codes for his bounties, right? So I loved, and that's why I love episodes like this. While they might not be shiny and flashy on the exterior, the lore they deliver is to my liking. I just like knowing that we finally got to see how and why the Empire created these chain codes. And it really is, as Tech explains, and we have learned through subsequent episodes of Mando, it was to create a registry of every galactic citizen so they could find you at any point in time.
Yeah. Go ahead, Justin.
It happened in Solo as well, right?
Yeah, they would have already been established because, I mean, we're talking a few days, a few weeks after the rise of the Empire at this point. So he's going out, Sidious or Palpatine, he's having all his admirals, vice admirals. They're going out now where the clone forces were, and they are implementing the chain codes, and they also mentioned the ship identification, which is another thing that has popped up in future Star Wars just in the last season of Mandalorian. Hey, what's your ship's code, your transmission code? He's like, oh, I don't know, because he didn't want him to know that he was that Razor Crest. So all this came into place right at the fall of the Republic for the Empire to take control and essentially track every citizen that lives in it. So I really like this throwaway scene, if you will, because it lays a groundwork for how the Empire controlled, and it kind of pays off on a lot of these control mechanisms that we've heard about but never really learned why they're put in place in future Star Wars, like the Mando itself. All right, here we go. I don't know if this was Snaggletooth himself, but it is a Zutton. All right, so I threw that in there, and I don't typically include just random aliens. I like to tie them to known types of aliens or characters from the Cantina. That's why we're just going to pretend this is Snaggletooth, even though he's not wearing his red or blue outfit at this point in time.
Yeah.
Did anyone else notice, or I mean, maybe all clones did, but Hunter's using a Jedi communicator.
Yeah.
I thought clones used something different, or just their helmets, or why is he using a Jedi communicator, or did all the clone commanders have one?
I know that the communicators are built into the helmets, because you remember when Luke and Han bust up the troopers in episode 4, take the suit. I don't think you see it, but they take the communicator out of the helmet, and that's what they're using to talk to each other with. So like the comm's always in the helmet, but maybe because they were special troopers, they got special access to higher level comms or something like that. But yeah, it is much more similar to the Jedi one.
It's dead on. I'm probably not using the right image, but I'm a weirdo sometimes, and I'll actually get in there, scan and stretch, and then I'll go compare it to. I was using a lot of Liam Neeson shots for this one. Because I mean, he's the one that used it most extensively in the films when he's radioing in the midichlorian counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That prop is actually a woman's razor.
You know what? That makes 100% sense, because now I think about it, I think it's like the Glade. It's like really wide. That they really do look. Just see that they don't call them at SW props for no reason, people. I mean, you want to talk about? I might know some lore and history about Star Wars, but this guy's probably going to know everything under the sun about props, where they came from, how they were made, and I love that knowledge.
Yeah. That's
next
cool.
one here, and like I just said, I don't typically feature aliens unless they could be tied to someone famous, and I'm saying this Bith right here one day will join the modal nodes.
Right? Yeah, you think he's the Which one do you think he's the one on the left?
Yeah, he's the one playing that dildo looking thing. So that's that guy. We got to see a familiar looking transport. It's called the Star Commuter 2000. That's the official name. That's not something I made up. But I believe this was first featured in Rebels. It's been featured in Resistance. So this is a familiar looking transport that popped up here again.
I believe the Star Commuter, I don't know if it's the 2000 model, but it's also the name of the ship that you go in when you do Star Tours.
Nick, I was going to say,
Star Commuter or something.
Is it similar to the one that's used on Ride of the Resistance? It's not, because that's a special one. It's actually in Lego form, so I know it's not that, but I think you might be onto something. But yeah, or maybe that's why they named this the Star Commuter 2000. But that is the name of this ship, and this was not the first time it popped up, so it is very valid for an Easter egg or a reference. Speaking of valid eggs, if you look back there, we see a smelter droid, the same model as 8D8 from Jabba's palace. All right, so he's there he's smelting something. And then the last little egg I had here, and I think I missed one with Wrecker. Someone told me I did, and they may be right, but I guess Wrecker bangs his head kind of like the Stormtrooper did. But in the end, good old Meathead himself is using a gonk droid as a dumbbell. So we had the gonk droid in there, and the whole time he's just going gonk, gonk as he is getting hoisted up and down.
I saw you talking about Wrecker's doll. Right?
Yes. Did you know a little background behind that, Lula?
No, I mean, maybe, but remember the doll from Batu from Galaxy's Edge? It's like the Tuca doll.
Okay, I think.
Is it the?
I mean, it kind of for that.
So that's the tie-in then. All right, that makes sense. It's a way to shift some merchandise from the Edge. All right. Yeah, I know, Justin. I was like, I mean, that's something I was researching. I had it on my list when I watched her premiere to look for. Is it an Easter egg? Is it a reference to something? And I couldn't quite nail it down. So you may be right. I was even looking the name Lula. I was like, who's Lula? We have an Ula, but not a Lula, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the Easter eggs. Now I'm going to kind of go down the key moments. Maybe we'll get some discussion here. Maybe we'll just keep rattling through. You never know. But to me, the first key moment here, I think, is the fact that for the first time, the Clone Force 99. The first thing that was interesting is they learned from Cut that Rex just passed through. They're on the heels of Rex, so I'm starting to think that Episode 3 they might catch up to him because it looks like they're going to that busted ship planet. But Rex is right in front of him, and it sounds like Rex is kind of going around doing what you'd assume Kenobi and Yoda might have done after they learned that their world just came crashing down. And he's kind of going around trying to find the name clones to see if they've gone batshit crazy to help them. And it looks like he started with Cut to see how he reacted to the chip, and he explains the chip to Cut, which in turn, the Clone Force 99 clones finally realized that it was a chip that fucked everyone up. So, like I said last week, what they're doing with Crosshair, even though I called it and he was going to break bad, but the fact that they did highlight that it was a chip and the chip being tweaked, and now Clone Force learning that it is a chip, that is going to open up their graces on Crosshair. Crosshair is going to have a redemption moment. It's probably going to cost him his life, but he will have a redemption moment, even if he takes out one of his brothers first. It's coming. They're slowly building to it. But I like the exchange here, and I did think it's key to learn that Rex is on his own mission across the galaxy to kind of find his new place, while also warning. I mean, this is probably his journey where he finds Wolf and Gregor and snaps them the fuck out of it. But also, I just like how everyone looked at Tech like, you didn't tell us it was a chip? And he's like, well, I just figured everyone knew. And I believe Super Scoundrel was sharing a fun new meme based on Tech that we threw in our stories that kind of plays on that. And it's the whole, like, how did you guys not know that was Palpatine the whole time? He's just like, Tech's like, well, I figured it was just obvious or something like that. Go check out check out the meme. I think at SW Props has it up too. All right, another key moment between these two. Is we learn from Cut that he doesn't think Omega is just another enhanced clone like the Bad Batch. And he gives us a key piece of knowledge here. And he says, listen, Hunter, the Kaminoans do not create without purpose. That's the exact line. Mm-hmm. They do not create without purpose. So the fact that she was made well after Clone Force 99 and seemingly was being used in the laboratories for this, that, and the other thing leads Cut to believe that her true purpose has not been revealed yet, which I think all of us know is coming. We postulated last week that there could definitely be some Force science going on with Omega. She could be one of the first clones where they did try to infuse some Force, which could catch the eye of Palpatine and obviously lead to his own experiments. But Cut kind of puts it out there, plain and simple. Listen, she's not just an enhanced clone like you guys. She was enhanced for a purpose. What that purpose is, we do not know yet.
Do you guys get a feeling that, because I kind of got the feeling that she could be a bad guy, like she could be a spy. Like there's certain points I was like, wait a minute, she seems like she's up to no good in the ship. Did you guys get that feeling?
I have not gotten that feeling yet. I'm not going to discount that take, but I have not gotten that feeling yet. I think she is going to be someone that is going to have an impact on Star Wars down the road, like some of this live action stuff we're getting. I believe she's going to have that much of an impact in this series, which is in turn going to kind of send ripples down the canon into the future stuff.
I think that is an interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's got me thinking now,
theory.
Though. You got me thinking.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like, she has no attachment to these clones outside of like, their brief interaction that they've had so far from Kamino to here to Seleucami. And yeah, you can say that like, oh, well, we're, they're family because they're all these enhanced clones or they're separately built. But like, I don't know. Like, if she was a spy, of course she wouldn't want to leave. Like, she wants to get back. Like, she doesn't want to jet off with this Cut guy and his family because it's her mission to stay with these people. She's clearly gifted.
I got the feeling when she was in the ship and she was kind of looking around. Like, that's when I was.
That would be quite a turn. Because I don't think that
it'd be like Grogu going to the dark side. I mean, I'm not saying it's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah,
that was possible.
I don't know. Yeah. I haven't gotten that yet, Justin. But like I said, I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're wrong. quite yet.
Just
not
yet.
Not
Just
yet. I might
yet.
save that for a rainy Tuesday, but not quite yet.
But no, I mean, I think that is, keep it open, because that would be a hell of a twist in the show.
It'd be crazy. I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks that she's going to play into the whole reason. Like the stuff Palpatine's doing on Exegol. Even by the time of Empire Strikes Back, as we learned through the most recent Vader comic, he took Luke's hand and he was creating beings infused with the midichlorians to ultimately perfect either Force soldiers or his own clone sarcophagus, if you will. And I think she may lead into that type of stuff, which would also lead into what we're seeing in The Mandalorian with Grogu. The Empire probably ran out of Force juice with Luke's hand, and because of Palpatine wiping out all the Jedi, their reserves of Force blood are low. That's why Grogu was such a coveted asset at the time of the Remnant. But I don't know, man. That heel turn could be very interesting, if anything else. So we'll keep an eye on that. I've had some people, even on our YouTube, be like, she's going to be Rey's mom. So if that's the fact, then Rey is a clone straight up, because her dad was a clone, her mom was a clone,
and then she's
as clone-y clone as it gets.
I mean, it could be, because she is at the age to where she would be in her mid-30s around that time when Rey would be born, mid-30s, maybe early 40s.
Age lines up. There's no doubt about it. So who knows? But hey, everyone keep their eye on Omega. She's clearly the key driver of the plot in this series. It's not the Bad Batch. I mean, as much as we may love them at this point in time, and I do, I love this crew of clones. I know some people don't like them because they're not the originals. They're not regs. They're too outlandish. They're too silly. They're too characterized in a case like Wrecker. But I love these guys. But I do not think they're the main deal. Their story is what's going to vault and prop up whatever Omega's role in the galaxy is. That's my thought here. I do not think the Bad Batch survives their show.
No.
Yeah. No. There's no way that they can make it out into OT
and that's
timeline.
And that's another reason why I don't think she will go bad, just unless she is the one that takes them out. But I think they will sacrifice themselves to ensure her safety and longevity. Ultimately, I think it's going to be a 1-by-1. I don't see the Bad Batch all going out at the same time. I think they're going to summarily sacrifice themselves.
Yeah.
All right. Another key moment, and we already kind of touched on this, but I love this stuff, because you got to think about, there's absolutely zero coverage of this time in Star Wars. So it's all new. It's all new to see how he used the clones to take control. How brilliant the plan of having a clone army to do just that, because all these clones were already stationed on all these planets and outposts. All he had to do was flip their switch, turn them into even bigger puppets, and he had complete control of the galaxy through the guise of safety and security. Once again, Palpatine is one of the most brilliant long game villains in any pop culture. But I loved seeing them being dickheads in all white, the idea of chain codes, the idea of taking everyone's ships and essentially putting a transmitter on those so they can be tracked. It's all very key stuff we're seeing, because we've only ever known the full Empire and the people fighting against it, or the fall of the Empire, or pre-Empire. Now we're seeing how we know how it was formed. Now we're seeing how it took root and how it is inflicting its boot upon the galaxy, and why all these planets and civilizations will ultimately rebel against it. All right. Up next, this is just kind of sticking to the chaining and coding stuff. So here. Now, toy collectors, we kind of got this character spoiled a week or two ago when he was revealed, and I'm talking about Vice Admiral Rampart. This is a key moment, though, because I believe he's going to be the main antagonist. I mean, Tarkin kind of came in episode 1 just to, slap his dick around and remind people that this is Star Wars. But I believe Vice Admiral Rampart's probably going to be the main officer in the Imperial Navy dealing with the Bad Batch moving forward. Clearly, he'll be taking direct orders from Admiral Tarkin. But Vice Admiral Rampart, I think, is going to be our main antagonist face in the Bad Batch. So we kind of got introduced to him, at least those that don't collect Black Series, in this episode.
I think it's also possible, if this show continues to go on, that we could have a character that Justin mentioned earlier in the show pop up, and that's Grand Admiral Thrawn. This is Thrawn's wheelhouse period. Like, he was around during the time of the Empire. I don't know if he was there right at formation. I think that he may have come in a little bit later, after the Empire was a little bit more well established. But if this show stretches on a little bit further, we get closer to episode 4 timeline, get closer to start to intermingle with Rebels a little bit, you could see Thrawn step in and play foil to the Bad Batch, kind of like he did with Phoenix Squadron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take Thrawn back, at least see him coming in. Might not be Grand Admiral yet. Maybe he's just a captain.
Yeah. Starts off as a lieutenant, I mean, he works his way up in the structure pretty quickly. But you can definitely see a younger
I like that,
Thrawn
Nick. I would not mind that at all. And if the show does continue on beyond one season, which at this maybe it will. I mean, they did 16 for season 1, which leads me to believe that this might be a real show and not just a Kenobi, where they're kind of one and done. But yeah. That's why I said I love this time period, because there's nothing. The closest we have, and it's not even remotely close, is Solo. I mean, but Solo's 10, 12 years beyond this time. Kenobi's going to be 10 years beyond even what we're watching now. So they have all that time to cover.
And this is crucial times too.
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, the galaxy's essentially sitting there doing a double take. Like, whoa! What the fuck just happened? We were just in a war with separatists. Now the Republic, they're an empire, and they're telling people that fought for the Republic that they're insurgents. Like, what the fuck's going on? I mean, that's why I love we got the Saul scene in episode 1 to already set that up. Like, we were fighting for the Republic. Now it's the Empire, and because we don't want to be controlled, we're the bad guy. It's no longer the separatists and droids. It's just regular people that were on the good guy side. So yeah, I mean, it's the galaxy's so fucked up right now, but you're seeing Palpatine's master plan be executed damn near flawlessly. All right, next key moment, and this just kind of ties into my summary of the episode. Cut straight up teaches Hunter and the Bad Batch how to be a dad. Like, listen, Omega's not a soldier. She fucked up, but like Haywood Pop, like myself, you can't just go there and start screaming at her like she's an adult. You gotta wear the kid gloves. You gotta make sure she feels safe and secure. I am embarrassed, and I hate myself for this. My daughter, if she gets hurt just on an accident, will run away from me because of how I responded to those moments when she was little. I'm a fucking freak.
Oh no.
I hate it. It makes me ill. It makes me sick to my stomach that my own kid, if she gets hurt doing something stupid, that she will look at me in more fear and pain than the pain getting hurt gave her. And that is sad. That is not good. That's not something I'm proud of.
That's why the kid gloves
exactly.
exist.
So it ties right back into this episode. I was Hunter, if not worse. Like, what you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And that's how, literally, Pavlov's dogs with my daughter. If she gets hurt, she looks at me like, is he going to scream and yell? I hope not. And then she feels her pain. That is wrong on so many levels. But it's because Dad, when she would get hurt, first thing I would do, what are you doing? Why are you running through the house? Blah, blah. I mean, that's all it was. That's not how you do it, people. So listen to Cut and listen to myself after I've learned a bad lesson. Don't do it that way. So Cut is, like I said, he's helping these grizzled combat veterans become better caretakers of a young girl.
Yeah. It's like the movie 3 Men and a Baby. You got to learn through experience sometimes.
Oh man, I'm such an asshole. I mean, literally yesterday is the first time. It's because Heather was working. She jacked her foot on the table. I know it had to kill her. And she looks at me and she's trying to fight back her tears. I'm like, are you all right? She's like, yeah, I just need to be by myself. I'm like, Charlie, listen, I'm sorry. I know you think daddy always yells when you get hurt, but I'm really trying not to do that now. Please come here and I will comfort you. And she actually allowed that to happen. So I'm making some progress, but it's bad. Like it's pretty bad, like Dr. Phil type of shit. It's bad. All right, so cut the clone daddy. He's a good man. He showed Hunter what to do. All right, I don't know. I mean, maybe Justin has some thoughts here, but I put Omega removing her headpiece as a key moment because it does not go back on, and she removes it as she's staring outside the cockpit of the Clone Force 99 ship, the Bad Batch ship, almost like she's longingly thinking about someone or someplace she'd come from. Camino is all we could really think about. So what about you guys? I mean, do you think there was any significance to her removing it, keeping it off, but also kind of staring at it one last time like, that's my former life now? Right? Did you guys get that feel, or am I crazy?
Yeah. Go ahead, Justin. You can give your thoughts on this one.
Yes. Obviously, she's looking at her past and like whoever gave her that. It could be the Kaminoans. I always butcher that, or it could be the someone else who gave that to her, kind of like a parent.
Yeah, like I mean,
but
if we're going that she potentially has force abilities, maybe it's the donor, right?
Yeah, do that too. But whatever it is, it's her saying, "Okay, I'm moving on from where I was." But at that point, I was like, "Okay, maybe she's not a spy after all."
Or is she?
Maybe that's the double take. She's
they're fucking with you now, Justin.
You could see as soon as she got off the ship, this girl was had never been anywhere else. She's fascinated by dirt. Like literally, like she's on her knees, she's picking up dirt and just watching it fall out of her hands.
I think I've seen too many movies where like they pretend that they're picking up dirt, like, oh wow, like
you're too jaded. You can't believe that even a small child just has nothing but good in their heart.
He's had too much dirt in his life. He's not a fan of dirt, just like Anakin hates sand.
Yeah.
So all right. So you guys kind of got the idea that it was it was like a growth moment for her. Hey, that was the old me.
Maybe not even a growth moment. It's just like a moment of almost like, I have to hide this now. Or like people,
I am woman, hear me roar, right?
Yeah. Like this is no longer like leading the life that I'm going to have to lead now requires me to not have this. Like I can't have this attachment, almost like a Jedi in a way. Like Jedis were not allowed to have attachments because they knew that it drew them into the dark side. It had negative effects on their mental state. And I mean, you saw what happened with Anakin Skywalker. I mean, like this was like a literal symbol of attachment to her only life.
That's a good point.
And now she's like, I cannot, if I have this with me, if I have this on me at all times, I'm not going to be able to do what I have to do to continue and live my life the way that I have to now.
All right, let's get back to their breakdown here. Okay, so I think one of the last ones here. Yeah. Just the last key moment obviously was Hunter's original plan to give her up and then her coming back and just kind of setting the connection between these two. I mean, while the rest of the Bad Batch clearly, I think they dig the kid, they don't have the bond that Hunter and Omega do. I mean, even in the premiere, she mirrors his moves perfectly, almost like she's tied to him somehow. Is it through the Force? Do they share similar enhancements? But he raises her hand, she does. I mean, he says go, she says go. Is it just a kid trying to be like an adult role model? Who knows? But this episode kind of draws a line. Like it's Hunter and Omega first. That is the bond. That is the father child, and then the other Bad Batchers are crazy uncles. But this episode clearly sets up that these two are going to be our Din and Grogu. right? They're going to do whatever it takes to protect each other moving forward.
Yeah, I think Justin froze again for a second, so I'll jump in here. And I think it's because if you look at all the other members of the Bad Batch, they're kind of, Hunter's the most normal. Like, if she goes up to Tech, he's going to throw
he's
some
like E
techie shit
equals
at her.
MC
He's gonna be
squared,
like,
the Death Star times
so
2.
She's like, all right, well, I'm not here for school. And then, Wrecker's the drunk uncle. That's drunk Uncle Wrecker. He likes to throw shit around and have fun. And then, like Tex said in episode 1, Echo is more machine than man now. I mean, like, he can, even in the moment, I thought a big moment in the show in this particular episode was when they were walking through Seleucami before they reached Cut. Echo says, like, well, how can we know we can trust a deserter? And then Tex says to him, he's like, well, we're all deserters now. And then Echo finally has that realization, like, he's still not processing things the same way that everybody else does, and he's not realizing things at the regular pace yet. Like, he's still very scarred, and even if you just look at Echo as a character, he is very different than even the rest of the Bad Batch. So I mean, it's only logical that Omega would kind of attach herself to Hunter, because he is the most father-like figure of this entire group.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, I think it's going to make up a main part of the narrative moving forward. I mean, he'll obviously, he's probably going to, train her. I'd imagine when we see her shooting that purple bow that he might have had a hand in some of that stuff. We already know she's a good shot, right? I mean, while Cut thinks, and I think he's right, that she was created for a specific purpose, she clearly has some of the other clone trooper enhancements, such as the ability to aim, quick reflexes. Who knows what that connection is with Hunter beyond just the father mentor bond. But I mean, like I said, she was mirroring his moves to a T. There was no delay. It was like boom, boom. It's almost like they were connected, like she was a marionette or something. All right, so that kind of takes us to the end of our Bad Batch S1E2 cut and run breakdown. I know Justin's got to hit it. We usually introduce the next episode and try to make a few predictions. You got another 5 minutes?
Yeah.
All right, so this is still an old post because we found the first 3 episode titles a few weeks back. So this week's episode, Bad Batch episode 3, is titled Replacements. This one could be quite interesting. And the synopsis is: the Batch gets stuck on a desolate moon.
Okay, there we go. So Justin, why don't you hit us with your thoughts on what we could see in episode 3 and maybe what you're excited about moving forward in the series?
Well, I think we touched on it with we're going to be catching up with Rex.
Okay.
That's a very obvious thing, because why would they even mention him in episode 2?
Right.
So I'm excited to see see what Rex looks like at that point, but also who he's with. I think that's going to be a big thing.
Yeah, I had a few people on the video breakdown last week kind of comment, do you think Ahsoka's going to be with Rex? And I actually think they decided at the end of their journey, like, hey, Ahsoka's going to go and try to save as many Jedi or Force users as she can. Rex was going to go and try to save some of the clone captains and commanders. So I do think Rex is going to be solo. If Snip shows up, fan-fucking-tastic. That's just going to be more exciting. But I do think Rex is going to be on his own. Like I said, he's on his own mission to warn, and try to save some of his brothers, some of the named clones. The Replacements title is interesting because to me that implies we may start seeing Tarkin maybe rotating in some new types of soldiers into the clone units. So we might touch back in on Crosshair and kind of see some of the elite shadow troopers that are going to be in his squad, and maybe they won't be clones. Now, them getting stuck on a moon, I do think that is where they're going to run into Rex. Now, why do they get stuck? That's the interesting part. It could be maybe Fennec shows up in this episode, maybe fucks up their ship, their hyperdrive, they can't get off.
They are being hunted. That's another thing to keep in mind, is that they're not like out there and just like, oh yeah, they got away, they're free, just let them float around. Like, there are people actively hunting them. We know that Fennec is in it from the trailer, and we know that a battle goes down involving Fennec and the Bad Batch. So keep your eyes out for that. Could be sometime soon. And if they're stranded on a desolate moon, that means that something has happened to their ship that probably stranded them there.
Right. So I'm thinking here, we'll kind of summarize it. We're going to get Rex. He's going to kind of really fill them in on how Order 666 went down for him, what he and Ahsoka did, how they saved themselves, and his plan to go protect or save as many clones as he can. And I think, I'll just fuck it. Fennec is going to show up, and she'll be the reason they are delayed on this moon at this point in time.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
All right.
I think that's a good call. So yeah, I mean, that wraps up the breakdown for episode 2 of season 1 of Bad Batch. And Justin, we really appreciate you sticking around for, I mean, at this point, almost a 2-hour run.
It's the longest yet. I maybe Blainer Things was around this time too, but we appreciate you giving us your time, the long haul. I know you got to get going, so loved your stories today, man. I mean, I think that was even more fun than even talking about the props themselves. Just the trials and tribulations of going out, getting these things made so they have personal meaning to you, but also a meaning to the cast member you're trying to get signed. And really just the signing stories are excellent. That Mark story was great. Sam Jackson, Natalie Portman, a lot of good stuff. So if those of you, if you just tuned in now or you missed Justin's full interview, please make sure to watch the replay or listen to the audio only version when we release it on Wednesday, May the 12th. Because there's a lot of good anecdotes about high-end Star Wars prop collecting and some of the fun and some of the pain that comes along with it. So, Justin, we speak your name, buddy. Thank you. We appreciate you. Good luck with the rest of the day, and may the Force be with you.
Yes.
All right. See you, dude. At SW Props, everyone, go check him out. He's got some great posts on there if you are a Star Wars fan and collector. See ya.
All right, guys.
Later.
See ya.
All right. Let's switch our... that's not the right one.
Oops.
There we go. We're back. It's the Matt and Nick show. Right. Let's get the browser window up here.
Okay.
All right, dude.
Now, Matt, are we going to roll right into our special announcement for this cast, or are we going to put that off for a little bit longer?
Well, what I want to do first is take a pee.
Okay.
I've got to do that because I'm already at the.
All right, you go and then I'll go, so we won't have any dead air.
All right, so dude, why don't you start with the first? You start with our exclusive Andor set picks, because at this point in time, the Cleverly set is so inundated with fans photo bombing and filming that it really doesn't matter anymore. But we did get some exclusives of Diego Luna on the set of Andor that Nick's just going to kind of kick into. Then I'll come over, we'll talk about the rest, and then we'll do our special thing. But I can't think straight until I get this urine out. All right, go.
There we go. All right, so some of the first ever set photos of Diego Luna on the Cleverly set were through us, and exclusive through us, through our source in the UK. And obviously, like Matt said, this Cleverly set has been heavily scoured by fans, and basically, everybody who passes by it can take a picture and get a cool shot. But some of the ones that we have up here are showing Mr. Luna himself in the background. You can see him kind of behind a palm tree, it looks like there, in front of a wall. This is between shots, so he's not actively filming at this moment. But we can also see, if we look at the pictures on the bottom too, just a wider shot of the Cleverly set in general. It's already dressed at this moment for... like the building itself already has all the Star Wars set dressing on it, and the green screen you can see in the background is relatively large. So it's definitely not a fully practical set, and they will be CGing in some other either people, some other background via that green screen. But the exclusive images we have are mostly of just Luna himself kind of in the background. You can see behind some of the equipment there, and then also this massive green screen that is set up on the location as well. So I'm going to jump out now, and I will be back in a second.
You go empty your diaper now. I'll take over. But so in addition to our exclusives, like I said last week, if you're on Star Wars Leaks or hell on our Discord or just on Instagram, you know what's happening over in the UK with Andor. I mean, it's just out of control. You know what I mean? Out of control with the level of access fans have to this set. So I want to play this video here. Hopefully it doesn't screw up our audio. But notice the guy in the ball suit there, the CGI suit, carrying some bodies very easily like this. It also looks like he's on stilts. That's got to be a K2SO like Imperial droid. Okay. We've been told that K2 is not going to be in season 1. There's potential down the road if Andor moves on. So I'm not thinking this is going to be K2SO himself, but that's got to be a K2 like droid. Because the character's being CG, they're up on stilts, they're carrying human bodies like sacks of groceries. So unless it's some funky alien species we haven't seen before, I'm going with this video. This guy right here in particular in the CGI suit is a K2SO model bot.
Okay. Now, Matt, on that note, we know that K2 is not going to be in the show. But could we see the exact droid that becomes K2 in the show, and then we get to see, like, could that be like the K2 droid, but then we find out that, like, oh, well, his designation was initially K2SO. That's a name that he got once he turned.
I guess that's one way to look at it. Another way is, like I said, it's just maybe this is Cassian or the Rebels' first time being introduced to this model of Imperial droid. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Grey Goose snaps. Yeah, I mean, it could be an IG droid for sure, but I just think for continuity's sake, familiarity's sake, that what we're seeing there in that video is going to be a K2SO droid.
Yeah, it's highly unlikely that it's anything like. There's no way it's a B2 because it's just too far past the Clone Wars era. Like, this is definitely and really the K2 style of droid is the only one that's big enough that we've ever seen in the Imperial era that could do that. Like, there's no other droid that could actually move human bodies like that.
Yeah. So, but hey, like I said, we've got a few more clips to cover and shots. I mean, they're really all over the place. It's like how many shots of a shore trooper hanging out can you look at? Well,
I was going to say there's a lot of these.
If you're a Star Wars fan, you can look at a lot of them. So. Right now, though, what we want to do is we want to introduce our first ever sponsor. So we've got a little bit of a read to do for you here. So here we go. All right, so support for the Star Wars Time Show is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. You listening, Star Wars Time Show fans? For you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SWTS at manscaped.com. All right, so imagine shaving with a sleek, well-designed, and optimized trimmer that makes shaving time your favorite time in the bathroom. I'm one of the first, well, actually, Nick is one of the first people to try the new 4.0, and I'm pretty sure he's blown away by the performance. The craftsmanship and details on the 4.0 are next level, right, Nick?
I gotta tell you, so I got mine on Sunday. And I was waiting. So Matt and I, we got reached out to, and they're like, "Oh, we want to work with you guys." And I got hyped because, like, I've I've known about Manscaped for a while. There's a lot of shows that I listen to that are sponsored by Manscaped, and I am a scaper. Like, I like to keep my region clean. I like to keep my region very tidy because I think it's nice for me to do that for my lady love as she does for me. So I like to reciprocate that kind of job. And look, I've been doing it for a long time, and there's a lot of different methods you could go about. You know, if you got a hefty bush down there, you may need some scissors to trim down, and then you get in there. But I've kept it clean for a while, and I got to say, this is the little puppy that Matt was talking about here, the Lawnmower 4.0. It's very sleek, man. It's small. It's light. It doesn't feel like you're holding the fucking hedge trimmer down there and trying to take care of your business. It works so well that, like, I put it to the test too, because they give you, so when you get the trimmer, you get 2 guards with it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going no guard.
Oh,
I'm going to the
right
skin.
to the ball sack.
If I'm gonna support a product, I'm putting it through the ringer.
Right, so
and I did it flat like this.
Did your ball sack turn into deli meat?
No, sir. No nicks. Now, I will say, you know, you can't go in there like a crazy person. I wouldn't say take this puppy in drunk and then just fly in there. No, treat your downstairs region with some respect. But I will say that I got in the crevices. I was thorough, and there was no nicks, no scratches. And it did a fantastic job.
So you didn't get, because I've done this before, just using like a hair trimmer. I'm down there, no guard like I'm a G.I. Joe, I'm a Tommy Tough guy. And I've actually, you hit it and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's like I'm shaving off a piece of salami here. But that did not happen with the Lawnmower 4.0, huh?
It did not happen. It's got specially designed blades too. It's ceramic blades. So you can get in there and you can be right up on the skin and not have to worry too much about it. Like I said, treat your downstairs area with care. This is a great little razor for it. And I mean, they have also, even outside of the razor, they have some fantastic products on Manscaped.com.
Can you use that, Nick? Can you use that in like, maybe not trim your beard, but edge your beard? Can you use it to like get edge lines?
Oh, you definitely can. So I know that they were, like you can catch edge lines. Like I said, you have guards for it too. And this is completely waterproof. So after you use it on your downstairs region, you can just wash it off, clean it off, and you can use it to shave your chin. If you got long, big
hope so, or it'd be
kind
kind of smelly just based on what Nick was saying. I mean, it sounds like he had that thing jammed up there. But hey,
it was way
when you know it's not going to cut you. That's the type of stuff you can do. Maybe you could even shave with your eyes closed. Who knows? But Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and incredibly comfortable grooming experiences. This 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade, like Nick said, which will reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. Just like Nick said, he feels confident shaving his boys now. This upgraded trimmer includes a multi-function on-off switch that can engage a travel lock. So those of you that still travel, it's not going to turn on in your bag. It also gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave, or a snoot light for toy photographers. The Lawnmower 4.0 even allows you to customize your trim through additional guard lengths with sizes 1 through 4. Did Nick mention the wireless charging? Well, guess what? There's a new wireless charging system that uses magnetic induction, which can help battery length last longer. Men, if you've been shaving with the same nut trimmer on your face, you've been doing it wrong. No person wants to end up with pubes in their mouth. Is that right, Nick? I know I don't.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So it's time to get your own ball hair and body trimmer with Manscaped to make me time the best time and enhance your confidence with some nice, smooth boys. And for those that are keeping score, boys are nuts. All right,
Yes.
so get 20% off plus free shipping with the code SWTS at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you, as will Nick and myself. So remember, get 20% off and free shipping with the code SWTS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use the code SWTS. If you do, you will unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Yes. So this is really exciting for us, just on a personal note outside of the read. This is, like Matt said, our first sponsor. And if things go well, this is we could potentially have Manscaped sponsor the show long term. So we really do hope that the Star Wars Time community shows up for us here, because it would be really big. Go over to manscaped.com. There's a ton of products. So we're advertising the new Lawnmower 4.0. They have a ton of stuff. They have underwear, which I'm wearing right now, actually, and it's super comfortable. I'm a boxer briefs guy, and these are very comfortable, very stretchy boxer briefs. So I enjoy that. But they also have body wash. They have deodorants. They have a ton of other products on there. And you can use the code SWTS for 20% off anything on the shop. And free shipping worldwide. So that means all you UK fuckers out there, because we know we got UK listeners. That counts on, that includes you, Tones. That includes you, Greg, who snaps down in the fake land of Australia. Right. All of you people get free shipping. All of you
need clean boys. So the Lawnmower 4.0. Or just go to manscaped.com and use SWTS when you check out. Not only will you be doing yourself, your significant others a favor, but you'll be helping out the SWTS bros. All right, so back to your regularly scheduled programming here on the Star Wars Time Show, and it's just more Andor set images. And like Nick said, it's like, where can you actually take this at this point? I know we did get a video of a chase scene, right? There's a
we did. We got a chase scene. But most of the set photos that you see here is obviously there's a lot of short
1/6 shooter has a great tagline to end the Manscaped.
Oh, man.
If you use the Lawnmower 4.0, you can go from Chewy to Windu in a matter of seconds. I like it.
I will say that if we do end up staying with Manscaped long term, we can make these ad reads real fun. They kind of open it up to us and let us do our own thing. So just throw that out
we'll
there.
be doing some stuff on IG as well too. So just please, hey, if you got some needs in the old man hair department and you've been thinking about it, why not use 20% off for your Star Wars Time Show dudes here? All right, it looks like the Instagram stuff has flaked out.
The Instagram stuff has been removed, but we still do have the video.
We'll do the chase scene, because the reason I'm going to show this here. Oh shit!
Did we bork
Has my audio flaked out yet? It doesn't look like it. Hopefully not. But anyways, the video playing right now, if you're watching the feed live, this again is from the Cleverly set. And you can kind of see like a processional going on. There looks like some cast members or some extras. They're all have robes to cover their costumes, masks for COVID safety. But what was it, Nick? It's at like the 1 something mark. I'm going to advance it a bit.
Yeah, you can skip forward a little bit. It's around the.
Here we go. There we go. He's up now, and let me close this. So if you're watching on the live stream, if you look to the furthest left, one of the characters there, some of the people that were leaving comments on this YouTube video, and this isn't ours, so you don't have to go comment and like, because fuck them. But a lot of people are like, hey, that guy at the end is kind of whipping the Palpatine hairstyle, obviously before he takes some electric shock therapy to the face. And he's got, some of that Snoke regal robes under there. So they're like, hey, could that be Palpatine? And, before...
That almost looks like a woman now when I look closer.
Before everyone freaks out, here's the deal. We fully understand at this point in the Star Wars timeline, Palpatine is old prune face, right? But if you've seen Rebels, and I even talked about this to Nick, I was like, yo, does Thrawn just see Palpatine in a different light? But no, I mean, basically we came to the understanding that Palpatine, if he wants to, can project or what I call it, glamour himself. I forget which is that from Harry Potter? I think
It's probably
but
something.
but glamour themselves, charm themselves, or project himself to look like the old Senator Palpatine. Still, he's got his face is back, his hair's back. Nick's like, nah, man, they're full of shit. There's no way that's Palpatine. But I can see where they were kind of going down that rabbit hole, if anything else.
Yeah. Also, I just don't like. It would be weird to have him in here and it not be Ian, because Ian is still old. Like he's old, yeah, but he could play Palpatine in this era. Of course he could. And then, like, if you see the person that's walking by, like he's just walking by with a bunch of the other extras. I feel like even if they did have somebody else playing Palpatine, you wouldn't just have him. Like he would be off to the side with fucking, Diego, and he'd be off to the side with the other like stars of the show. So I mean, like my initial thought was like, there's no fucking way it's Palpatine. I mean, I guess it could be like Matt said, he could alter his image to basically not show himself as this decrepit old fucker that just got electrocuted half to death. But I'm leaning more towards it's probably not him. Yeah,
I like you said, I mean, it'd be odd to have him there. He doesn't really need to be involved in Andor, although we'd love it. I mean, I think we'd all love to see more of the Empire throughout Andor, because I do believe it is going to take place clearly before Rogue One, but I think there may even be a few flashbacks to Cassian's childhood, so we could get slices of that early Empire. But it's more than likely someone that is, I don't know, maybe he's I don't want to call him a Moff, but maybe he's a local leader.
That's kind of what I was leaning towards.
Someone that is in charge of whatever this part of the galaxy is, or this town. Is it a mayor or something like that?
Yeah. I would buy that more than like Palpy is at this fucking random whatever diner or wherever he is, wherever they are for this particular shoot. So,
but there is some sort of chase going on here, because I've progressed the video a bit, and you can now see the extras. They're basically jumping over a rail to go down to the beach, and then they run out of view. If you keep watching, you see some shore troopers do the same, and we do know that Cassian is at this location. So, I mean, is this him starting some of his rebel insurgency? Is he still just kind of scoping things out and watching the atrocities of the Empire take place? If you're a betting man, I have a feeling that Cassian's probably, or the people he is with, are probably behind whatever this chase is about.
I would almost think that like this may be like a distraction. Like he paid some local kids. He's like, hey, look, just go fuck with them and like make them chase you, because I gotta get.
He is a spy. Like he's not a Luke or Leia. I mean, he will do some shady shit. We've seen him do shady shit. He killed a source just to kill a source. Yeah. So, and really, the way Cassian first talks to Jyn, even about her dad, I mean, he pretty much says like, listen, I'll do whatever it takes. Like I'd kill my mom if I knew it was going to end the Empire. I mean, he's one of those guys. So if you've liked spy shows, I'm going through Alias again, which is one of the best spy show or TV shows in my opinion. All sorts of that spycraft and whodunit and triple takes and triple agents and this, that, and the other thing. He could definitely be trying to cause chaos to distract the Empire to get to his ultimate goal.
Yeah. Definitely. So, I mean, the set video itself is pretty cool. You get to see them. Obviously, you get to see that scene kind of play out multiple times because they're doing multiple takes. You can see them moving some plant set dressing around to maybe catch different angles of specific areas. Obviously, you get to see the extras walking on and off. Like, I don't know if some people thought like, oh man, like, everybody's got black robes on. What if they're all Sith? They're all fucking evil. But they're just covering their costumes.
Yeah, you see the same people when they actually shoot the scene. They're in their and they look like they're wearing Middle Eastern garb. Like almost like muumuus, where it's just a full on nightgown for both men and women. But I don't know. I love this stuff. I love B-roll. I'm just fascinated with the art of filmmaking in general. And I'm also fascinated with how clueless some people are, because I do like to read comments, because typically that shows you how de-evolved humanity has become. But a lot of them are like, man, I can't believe they had to keep doing the same thing over and over. That seems like so annoying. It's just going, have you watched how a movie's made? I mean, some directors may shoot the same scene 50 fucking times.
Yeah, they make you do it like 50, 60, 30, you know, however many times.
Until the vision has been realized, and the vision typically is the directors from storyboard to or usually from mind to storyboard to camera. Until it's exactly what they want, you're going to fucking run the same scene over and over again. Yeah,
there's no way that they catch
it's just
everything
like, I don't know.
It's
like people think that, you know, movies are just slapped together and they're like, oh yeah, we ran the camera. It was perfect. No big deal. We got nailed the scene. No, Greg, this is not the Kenobi set, pal.
No, that is definitely Andor.
The Kenobi set links have actually dried up quite a bit, so maybe they've gone inside and they're doing some volume stuff, but our source hasn't sent us any, and I haven't seen any kind of milling around on the leak scene.
Yeah. So this is definitely Andor. Kenobi, for the most part, is being filmed in LA.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the UK is where Andor's taking place. And I mean, well, you saw, like we showed you the shots earlier of Diego on the set, so it's definitely Andor.
I thought I put one in here, but they're actually this is the one I kind of wanted to see. Excuse me. Well, it's not going to let me pull it up easy, but there is another. They're calling it the Quarry set going on for Andor, and it's. I don't know. It's got like Force type of vibes to it, but not sure why that's in Andor. But I mean, I could probably pull it up if I wasn't a lazy piece of shit, but I'm a lazy piece of shit and don't feel like it. It's on our post. Go check it out on StarWarsTime.net. The aptly named post that Nick put out called "More and More Andor Set Images." Very SEO friendly for those.
Yeah,
more and more. Well, hey. Greg, you wanted Kenobi? We got some Kenobi for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's coming up.
All right, so Kenobi actress Moses Ingram posted a video that hopefully you can see right now on the live stream to her Instagram. And she's training with a lightsaber, and it's pretty clear that Moses has been practicing some lightsaber moves that, you know, some of you more slovenly fans are probably like, oh, shit, give me a lightsaber. I could do that easy, but I guarantee you couldn't. She's doing a lot of the Daisy Ridley, like, twists and exchanges. It's good stuff. Like, you can tell that Moses has been practicing this, and the reason we are here to talk about it is why, Nick? Why is Moses practicing lightsaber training for Kenobi?
I mean, this could all be just like a massive ruse. And like, I don't know what Moses has done previously. Like, I don't know what her acting credits include. I mean, let me go back and look, because maybe she was just on the soundstage. She saw a couple of stunt guys messing with lightsabers, and she was like, hey, give me that. You know, I have some training in sword work. Let me spin it around a little bit. But given the fact that she's doing it on a set, on a soundstage, you can look at this, you can pretty clearly see this is a soundstage, and that she's using an actual prop lightsaber that you would use on the set of a show. It leads us to believe that she is likely going to be playing a Force user in this show now. Somebody that wields a lightsaber. I mean, her only credits previous to Kenobi being filmed is the Queen's Gambit. So I don't think she was swinging around any swords or lightsabers in that show.
No, I think we kind of speculated this when we did get the official casting grid, and she had posted something that was Force user like that day, and this is just another thing. So either she's doing some amazing smoke and mirrors to throw us all off, or she's probably playing someone that uses a lightsaber in the Force in Kenobi, and that someone is probably going to be of the Inquisitor variety. I mean, obviously, she could be playing a Jedi character, and the lightsaber's blue in this video. I don't know. I think our hero Jedi is established in one Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they did bring in just some like other surviving Jedi, because I mean, like at this point in Star Wars canon, we know that they didn't do a great job of killing every Jedi. You know, some made it out.
As soon as Dave Filoni dreamed one up, they somehow survived Order 66.
Yeah, he's like, oh look, this guy.
Kanan. No, he made it. Kanan made it. Duh.
Kanan's alive. This guy's alive.
Cal
I mean, like even
Kestis.
going back to, yeah, like even going back to like pre-Disney canon, like during Force Unleashed video game, you're finding Master Ram Koda and all these other surviving Jedi. So I mean, like, you know, yeah, they had one good initial shock in the beginning with Order 66, but after that, they kind of, you know, the Jedi were doing a pretty good job at going underground. So it wouldn't surprise me if she came out as like a Jedi character that potentially got in touch with Kenobi or like found her way to fucking Tatooine, and Kenobi was like, you got to get the fuck out of here. You're going to get the skin,
Right.
you know, we're going to get the fucking skin ripped off of us because you just gave up my position. Like, or like you said, Matt, she's playing an Inquisitor, which is probably, you know, more than likely what's going to happen.
I would take either or, because I do think presenting another Jedi that ultimately would have to get killed off would be interesting. I don't know.
And that would cause conflict within Kenobi. Like, do I go fucking save this girl that has reached out to me? Or do I fucking sit here and do nothing?
But it'd also be awesome to see him go toe-to-toe with an Inquisitor, which you would assume might have happened to the good man, considering he was one of the most prominent Jedi that survived. And the Force, feeling this and feeling that. You can't tell me that Anakin just thought Obi-Wan was gone for good. I have a feeling they both kind of sensed each other throughout, and maybe that'll be shown in Kenobi. Maybe Kenobi did cut Anakin off and didn't sense him as Vader, but I have a feeling that's not the case. He knows who Vader is by the time Luke comes around. So, but I'll go with Moses is bad. Nick goes with she's good. That way, Star Wars Time Show wins regardless.
Yeah, no. Both. You heard it here first.
I would like to see her kind of come in and rustle up Kenobi's supposed peace and watching over Skywalker and fuck with him a bit. Maybe even get the best of him in their first encounter. As he could very well have a little rust building up at this point in time. Yeah, because I do not see Kenobi doing any active thing in the galaxy. I really don't. I think he truly embodies the hermit spirit. Until this series, I think something's gonna, pop up to give us some action, some stuff to go ooh and ah about. But in the end, just like I've been saying, his single charge is to protect that kid. He's not going to do anything that is going to seriously jeopardize that charge. Yeah, such as leaving planet or doing crazy shit like that. The other Kenobi thing just dropped today, and Justin kind of teased it for us, and Nick kind of gave us his speculation on it.
Take it to the bank.
And I think Nick is right, and I'm an idiot for not even going there. But in this interview with Kimmel, which I suggest watching because it's fun. I think Kimmel's fun. Ewan has fun with it. I mean, that is Kenobi right fucking there if you're on the live stream. That's it. He's actively filming. That's what he looks like right there. He's got a little bit of the mullet. He's got a little bit of the Kenobi mullet. You see that? Yeah,
he kept the mullet style.
There's a little bit of the mullet. So he doesn't have the Rots Kenobi coiffed hair, like the nice haircut, the Alec Guinness style. It looks like Tatooine Kenobi started to embrace a little bit of his trashy side again.
So then he's got to find a barber before episode 4. He finds somebody in Anchorhead or Mos Eisley that can trim him up a little.
Snaggletooth.
It's like, hey man.
But anyways, it's a fun interview. But of course, Kimmel asked him some Star Wars questions, and he asked him like, "Hey man, did you guys on set do anything special for Star Wars Day last week?" And surprisingly, Ewan gave him a tiny nugget. It still wasn't much, but it's enough for people like Nick and I to get excited about. And I summarize it, but he basically said they filmed a special scene. Those are his words in quote, with someone that is very special to him, as in Ewan McGregor. Last week on the set of Obi-Wan Kenobi. What's even more interesting about the reveal is that the person is someone he hasn't been seen on screen with before. At least that's what he can recollect. So, like I said earlier with Nick and Justin, we can instantly wipe off any of these Star Wars actors. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Padme, we know he's probably going to interact with Hayden in some form or fashion. But it's not this moment. And I think Nick hit the nail on the head, and I'm a dope. for not seeing this or sensing this through the Force. But I think you're right, Nick. Go ahead. What is this special scene going to be, just in case for those that didn't catch the beginning?
It's the moment where Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Protector, has an interaction with little boy Luke. You know, like we know through multiple sources, through Episode 4 and everything else, that he has interacted with Luke before their initial meetup in Episode 4 in the Dune Sea. So like we know that he knows him, and are we going to get this interaction? I think this is confirmation that we're going to get the interaction in this film.
I mean, I think we have to. I mean, more so than what they gave us in Rebels, where you know he's keeping watch. He's on the out.
Yeah, he's looking on.
He's on the outskirts of the Lars homestead. He can see Luke being called in by Beru. But I think we have to in this, just to establish the fact that Luke and Obi-Wan were not strangers in A New Hope. They knew each other. They knew what each other looked like. They knew stories about each other. You know, the crazy old hermit, old damn full crusades, all that shit. So I think Nick is spot on. The stuff that is throwing me off, and this could just be Ewan being cheeky, but very special to him, as in, is it him or is it Kenobi? And is it related to him or is it related to Kenobi?
So here's the thing. Ewan's got 4 kids. Like he's got, and I know that some of his kids are younger. So do you think it would even be possible that they, like, if you have minimal interaction between, like, with the young boy Luke, that they just cast Ewan's son in that role? That way that there is like a bond between, like, you know, the kid's familiar with his dad, and, you know, if it doesn't require him to do anything, like he's just got a couple of lines, if that, like you just have Ewan's kid play little kid Luke while they're having a conversation or whatever.
I lost you there, dude.
No.
You're back now. It was on my end. I forgot to put up the the Manscaped thing, so we're probably gonna get sued. But when I was doing that, my audio started flickering.
So I will tell you again. Do you think that it is that little kid Luke is going to be played by one of Ewan's kids, because he's got 4 kids?
That's what I mean. So we need to really figure out, was he talking about Ewan McGregor when he was answering, or was he talking about his character Kenobi? Because if he's talking about Ewan McGregor, then no, because he specifically says, I'm not related to the person.
Okay,
but
so if it
is Kenobi, he's like, well, yeah, technically, no, we're not related. But with the, you know, he essentially is Luke's grandpappy of sorts. So he could have been playing on that. So yeah, I got where you're going, but
he said he's not related to him, so it's probably not the kid. But I still have to go with little kid Luke. I don't know who it would be though. Who else could it be that he would film with that's special to Ewan, that would fit into the show? That's a hard one.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, he basically gave a textbook, no answer, great answer for a Star Wars actor. Because
you can sit there and
he's got everyone thinking about it. Again, without any prompt, Justin's like, oh, what do you think McGregor was talking about? So his non-answer has generated buzz already within the Star Wars fandom. So, you know, good on him for doing that without really giving us anything, but it feels like he gave us something.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, man.
Okay, so I don't know. I think you're right. I think it was the little Luke scene. They filmed it on Star Wars Day, which is about as kismet as it gets.
Yeah. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited about the Kenobi stuff. I mean, we got to see some set leaks from our source. And I mean, just seeing that they did go practical for a lot of the exterior shots for the Kenobi set is pretty fucking cool. And I'm excited to see what they can bring, especially now knowing that you're likely going to have a Force user character in Moses Ingram. We're definitely going to have some sort of interaction between Hayden and Ewan, whether it be in Kenobi Vader or Kenobi Anakin. I think that this show is it has so much potential to be one of the best live actions.
We've been saying that all along. I mean, Ewan has even mentioned, he's like, I've been keeping this shit secret for years, because there was going to be, we would be seeing the Kenobi movie like now.
Yeah,
it was going to be the 2021. It was going to be the movie after TROS, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And he's been like, I've been sitting on this role for years, knowing that something was going to happen, and now it finally is. And Nick's not kidding around. As much as we love The Mandalorian and will continue to, what this show it could put out could be absolutely legendary, just because of the time frame, the characters, and how closely tied it is to the original films.
Yeah.
All right.
So there we go.
So we got one more topic before fan segment time, and we do have our Manscaped graphic now. Hopefully they don't get too upset, because that was supposed to be up there when we were talking, but shit happens, right? Shit happens. But
we forget.
Guess
sometimes.
what? It's story time with Matt. That's right. We got a new comic book last week, and those of you that are in our Discord, or Nick kind of got my early critique of it, and this is the War of the Bounty Hunters, and it was just a prelude issue. It wasn't even issue 1. Think of it as issue 0. And I'll tell you what, my friends, especially those of you diehard Star Wars Time Show fanboys and girls, we all know the running joke with me and Bozo Fett, all right? If you're not familiar,
yes,
Bozo Fett is the Boba Fett we see in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, okay? I mean, literally, get the meme with the guy at the table with the sign, and I'll put it up there. Try to convince me that Boba Fett wasn't a bozo in the original trilogy. One of those types of deals, right? You just can't. You can't. And unless you're going to throw out all your expanded universe stuff or comics, it just doesn't work. On screen, he is 100% a bozo, okay? So there you go. So the fact that someone like me that thinks so little of that version of Boba Fett, and again, if you've been following the show, I'm going through a Boba Fett renaissance. In fact, I call the new one played by Tamara Morrison Neo Boba, right? He is the Neo Boba Fett, and he's someone that I can really get behind, appreciate, and want to learn more about. Well, I'm happy to report that thanks to this prelude issue of War of the Bounty Hunters, Bozo Fett is starting to grow on me. At least this version of him, Nick. And let me tell you, I fucking loved this issue. I loved how Boba was portrayed. I loved his actions. I loved his demeanor, and I really appreciate the narrative that I can see it kicking off. All right, War of the Bounty Hunters is a very apt title name for this, because I'll eventually get there. But by the end of this issue, you know full well why they're calling this miniseries War of the Bounty Hunters. So, anyways, let me explain how this version of Bozo Fett has really won me over, all right? I mean, it's in the title right here. Boba Fett once donned black armor, like jet black pimp armor, and called himself Django.
Look at that.
Those were the big new canon entries that came out of this issue. But overall, for me, it was more just a portrayal of Boba Fett. So this comic is taking place right after dude picks up Solo from Empire Strikes Back, all right? Like Solo is in the cargo hold. But we learn, and this was another new interesting bit of canon, that Boba didn't go right to Tatooine to the palace. He actually had to make a stop because lo and behold, with Han being the first organic to go through the carbonite freezing process, it was revealed that it was very unstable, and Han was literally starting to melt.
Oh God! Like his human
everything.
form was melting.
It was explained. So essentially, Boba has to make a pit stop on Nar Shaddaa to go to a shady doctor, right? Someone he's used before. The doctor, he's the same species as what's his name? Dexter Jester from Attack of the Clones.
Oh yes,
Yeah, the forearm guy. And the doc basically says like, "Hey, dude,
you're not supposed to do this to people.
Why would you guys freeze an organic in carbonite?" And he's like, "Hey, whatever, but I can tell you right now that if I don't do a little this and a little that, this person Han Solo is going to turn into Han Supo, as I said in the video. Like literally, he was just going to turn into goo." So that was another interesting bit of canon, but that's why Boba Fett had to take a detour from Bespin before Tatooine. So he goes and meets this Doc, and Doc's like, you got to pay me up front, motherfucker. You know how this is. This is Nar Shaddaa. What is it? The Smuggler's Moon or something like that. A lot of shady shit goes on here.
Like it's a casino. It's another casino world as well. Very shady.
So he wants paid. But guess what? Boba Fett doesn't have any cash. He was banking on this Han Solo to kind of be his ultimate payday, right? Because we know that Jabba just kept raising that bounty over and over and over, and this was going to be his big payday. So he has no cash. So the doctor's like, listen, these assholes, the Kanji Club, all right, who we learned about from The Force Awakens, they've got this arena fighter, right? I mean, I forget. It's like Werman Lichter, I think is her name. She's literally looks like a spider. Like she's human, but with a spider body. Like it's kind of freaky. It's like a real life spider girl. But the doc's like, listen, man, I'll tell you what. You go kill her. She's the arena champion, like the gladiator champion. You go kill her. I'll handle your problem with Han Solo. So Boba's like, all right, fuck it. I don't really want to. I don't want people to know who I am. I don't want the Kanji Club to be on my ass because I'm Boba Fett and I already have half the galaxy on my ass at all times. So that's when he's like, hey, bro, can you maybe paint me black? So that's where if you're on the live stream, you can see him. I mean, I would love to get this version of Fett. Just like fucking matte black Boba Fett. And that's when he also decides to enter the gladiator arena as Jango. Okay. So again, just great little bits of canon. And Boba's personality is finally starting to come through the armor. That's nothing you ever got in the movies, all right? Until The Mandalorian.
He was very...
We get it in The Mandalorian a couple times. He makes us laugh, right? I mean, in the one episode, he makes a comment about they may know my face because of his helmet and he's a clone. But anyways, he didn't want anyone to know he was Boba Fett because of the problem, so he painted himself up, named himself Jango. So he enters this gladiator arena, Nick, and he's got to like work his way up the ladder. So here we get to see his badassness finally. Nothing that was ever showed to me in Empire or Return of the Jedi, but here in one fucking panel, my friends, one panel... My jaw was just left agape. And I was like, holy shit, Boba fucking Fett. Look at this guy. I mean, he one champion to the next en route to the grand champion. I mean, cut this guy's head off, shot this guy in the head, decapitated this guy, blew this guy's face off. I mean, it was left and right with his gadgets. You really got to see Boba Fett being this ultimate warrior that everyone told me he was during the original trilogy. It's finally coming to fruition for me. But again, the demeanor, Nick, he's kind of jokey, right? Like he almost has like Han Solo one-liners where he says them at a perfect time for the situation that makes the reader go like, oh, so he is kind of a little wise ass. He's got a little scoundrel, but he's got some personality to him. He's not just put Captain Solo in the cargo hold guy, right? Yeah. There is a person there. You can see Neo Boba, right? You can exactly out. Because Tamir gave Boba Fett some character. He gave him some badass feel too, and we're getting this in War of the Bounty Hunters 0. All right, so he makes it to the Grand Champion. She comes out. He fires up the jetpack, right? She's a spider. She's shooting sticky shit everywhere. She can't get him. She's calling him her little fly. And it's looking like, oh man, even the Grand Champion's going to be nothing for Boba. But sure as shit, she gets his pack off, and then things are kind of even Steven. And here's where something interesting happens. This spider lady is somehow able to fully puncture 2 layers of Beskar on Boba Fett. So she stabs him through his front chest plate, through his body, out his back chest plate. Okay?
Wow.
So either this species, their spider legs are tougher than Beskar, or Boba's been lying all along and his dad's armor is not made of Beskar.
Yeah, and it's not really Beskar.
Right? I mean, he even says it's Beskar and Mando, so we got to believe it. So I'm just saying that this Worman Lictor, literally with her spider legs, could blow through Beskar. I mean,
and she didn't hit like the gap between the plates or anything.
It was like
she went through
right
and
through his tit. Like, it wasn't a kill shot, but it was enough to pin him down, and you think like, oh, Fett's done, right? So I found that to be kind of surprising. You know, is this species, or are their legs just stronger than Beskar, which we know a fucking lightsaber can't even pierce, right? I mean, that's some crazy shit. All right, I'll leave it alone. I can tell it's not that big of a deal, but all right, so Fett's fucked. He's pinned to the ground. He no longer has his jetpack, and she's starting to gloat like all assholes do. And you see him. He's on his wrist doing some like doot, 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 doot. You're like, all right, he's doing something. He's got another gadget to go. And then the next panel is just like, boom! He essentially just fucking lights a bomb off right on top of himself to blow this spider down, and she dies, essentially. He wins. He gets pink goo all over himself. He goes to collect his money. The kanji club's like, yo, bro, that was our champ. Now you need to keep fighting and pay us back, or just walk away. And this is where I forgot his original deal was just to kill the lady. So he had already checked that box. So while he needed credits, and I found this funny. I found this to be a different side of Boba. He essentially weighs his options. He's like, do I deal with these assholes? And
it's like, do I
deal with these
now?
assholes and get the full kanji club after me for the rest of my life? Do I do a few more fights and potentially die just to get them their money? Or do I just leave them my ultimate winnings and walk away? And sure as shit, he's like, you know what, guys? Keep the cash. I'm out of here. And just casually walks away. I don't know, man.
Like,
it seemed very not Boba, but again...
On mission.
But again, we don't really get much of Boba from the original trilogy movies, so that's why I'm appreciating his portrayal in the War of the Bounty Hunters. So anyways, he's accomplished his objective. He did the deal for the dock. Now he can get Han fixed.
Yep.
So we see, as he's headed back, some other shady characters show up at the dock's office. And they don't even fuck around. They just blast the guy. They see the quarry sitting there. And sure as shit, when we turn the next panel and Boba walks in, he sees the Doc's dead, and guess what's missing?
Mr. Solo himself.
Solo is gone, and I'm assuming that the Doc had fixed him at that point in time. Otherwise, Solo really would have been goo. But
yeah,
that is the event that kicks off the War of the Bounty Hunters. Another faction of bounty hunters had been tracking Fett, found him here, waited for him to leave, and then came and stole the Solo quarry as their own. And basically, Fett calls up to Bib and Jabba like, hey guys, sorry I had to stop, get gas. You know, just take my time, enjoying the planet a bit. Don't worry, I'll be there. It's going to take a little bit longer, though. And Bib's like, what? What do you mean it's going to take longer? And Boba, basically, you can see it says, to be continued, then in blue, for the War of the Bounty Hunters. So nice. Boba's going to have to go to war against, I'm guessing, some of the more prominent bounty hunters out there to get Solo back. We know he eventually does, but this is what this miniseries is going to entail at this point moving forward. So, Nick, we're going to get 5 main issues, but the story is going to creatively weave into the Star Wars comic, the Afra comic, the Vader comic, and the Bounty Hunters comic.
Okay, so yeah, that's kind of like how Marvel used to do for their some of their side runs. They would like the Civil War initial comic run that introduced the Civil War kind of weaved into the other individual character comics as well. So that's kind of function like that. That's pretty cool. And yeah, so this is where you're really gonna see badass Boba Fett. Like he literally has to fight a whole fucking company of bounty hunters to get this back.
I appreciate this issue so much. I even hit up Nick in our Slack. I'm like, dude, like this Boba Fett's pretty fucking awesome. I can get behind this guy. I'm digging this Boba Fett, and it's Bozo. It's Bozo Fett. This is post Empire Strikes Back, pre getting doofused into the Sarlacc pit Fett.
Yeah, this is literal like prime Bozo Fett time period.
But I'm finally starting to see, I guess, all the EU shit, which I don't believe it's not real anymore. And just the fandom behind it, and going back to that one episode when I took the flamethrower to a few of you over Boba Fett. I'm starting to come around. I'm never going to change my opinion on the original trilogy live action version of Boba Fett. You just can't. And you're crazy, and you're kidding yourself if you think that character looked like a badass in those two movies. Yeah, the armor looks fucking rad, but his actions are laughable at best.
Yeah.
But this comic here, just in this prelude issue, have already taken the Bozo version about 50 pegs higher in my book. So I'm excited. I don't know if I'm going to buy the other
like the interweaving sets.
I mean, clearly I'll get Star Wars and Vader because I'm currently reading those
already.
I don't know if I'm going to grab the Aphra and the Bounty Hunter, but you never know. I mean, I'm hooked to the War of the Bounty Hunter story. I don't want to miss a bit of it, so there is a good chance. But I believe this kicks off in full in June, and then will really carry on into the fall. It's a 5-issue run, as well as the mix-ins or the crossovers. I knew that was coming. I've been sucking in some air, talking a lot. All right, so like I said, there's comic book story time, new canon story time with the Star Wars Time show.
There we go. All right. That's going to bring us into our fan segment this week. And, you know, man, after the showing from this question of the week, we may have to just put the question of the week on rest. I think we have 5 responses in total.
Oh, we didn't even get like comments?
Like we got 2 comments when I polled, and then we had 3 story responses. So we had exactly the amount of comments that we usually read through. So Matt's question, as the question will be every week for Bad Batch if we continue to do it, is what was your favorite moment from the most recent episode, Bad Batch episode 2? The 2 responses I just lumped into one screenshot because they were literally right on top of each other. One is from @Mando_mugshots. He says, finally seeing a character with a hairline that I can realistically cosplay as. And I assume he's talking about Cut, because Cut does have kind of a receding hairline.
Well, at least there might not be a lot, but the quality is there so far, at least.
Yeah. Well, the second one, quality-wise, Mac Baron 23 says the credits.
Yeah, okay. So that must be a filler episode type of person, huh?
Yeah. Seems like he was not a fan of the episode.
I don't get it. It's like, I mean, it's similar to the sisters from the last run of the Clone Wars. I mean, there's people who are like, just delete those 4 episodes. They're terrible. They're waste of life. It's like, people, that was all done to show Ahsoka growing from disenfranchised, cut from the Jedi Order, to realizing, no, I am that type of person. I do need to help people in the galaxy, whether I'm a Jedi or not. That it was for world and character building. All right.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
You have to.
Star Wars isn't always going to be pew pews and lightsaber slashes. Like, I don't get it. Or clones in their armor.
I don't know. It's just like, I guess when people are so used to films, like if you have a lot of people that are watching animated series, like the animated series for the first time, and they've only ever watched a movie, or they've never really gotten into, like, you know, long or short form TV, then they're like, well, what is all this? The movies just hit me with what's important, and then the next one is boom, continues. But that's not how you get 22 episodes, 16 episodes in a season. Like, you need to have
slow burn, my friends.
Smaller, yeah. Because if we're going from this to the Bad Batches fucking fighting Darth Vader in the next episode, then how are you going to fill an entire fucking
I just want to see Crosshair shooting a sniper rifle and Hunter slashing his knife. Oh!
Yeah. Like, I get it. Like, these people look like Rambo. They look like the fucking, you know, the Expendables in cartoon form. But, like, you really do need to have episodes where you chill.
Me personally, you know, obviously in Star Wars, the special effects and that stuff, yeah, it's great. But I've always been most concerned and most focused on the lore, the world, and the characters. I mean, that's why the prequels bummed me out so much, because I had built up such an expectation of how that world and those characters would be built, that when it didn't hit that, I was like, well, fuck. That's not what I expected. So
yeah, it was very like, you want to see, because like if Star Wars had no world building, it would be one of the most boring things of all time. Like if you had no character building, you wouldn't give a shit about who Luke Skywalker was, or you wouldn't care about Anakin Skywalker's journey from Anakin to Darth Vader. Like all of these things that people are like, oh man, world building character, like that happens through small things like this, through 30 minutes of them, interacting with another clone who got away, and then building a relationship between Omega and between Hunter, and then showing you the world of Seleucami and how 4 days after the fall of the Republic has happened, they're already instituting measures to put in the vice grips of the Empire. Like things like that is like what makes this world sustain itself and what makes the story so interesting. So yeah, I mean, I don't get it, but
hey, to each their own. I mean, I get some people just want the flashy stuff, but that's not why I'm in the Star Wars. I'm in the Star Wars for the characters and the worlds that they live in. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, so here's another one. Our friend and fellow Star Wars Time Show employee, Baron's Black Series, says, kind of boring to me, TBH. I liked it. It just felt like filler to me. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I guess I'm just looking to see more overall story development.
It's episode 2 and it's 30 minutes long, pal. Have some patience.
It's going to come. It's going to build on each other. It's going to build on top. So you're going to see, now you see Seleucami. They're talking about chain codes. Oh, you can't get on this transport without your chain code. You need it. Everybody must have a chain code. They were literally taking ships to put ship IDs on them. Like, so yes, while, you didn't get too much, that's story development right there. And then you're going to get another piece, maybe 2 episodes down the road, and then another piece. And then, right now we all look back on the Clone Wars like it's the best piece of Star Wars that's ever happened. And you think about all of these things look how the world built, look all these characters we were introduced to. If the Clone Wars only focused on Anakin and Obi-Wan the entire time, and there's them going fight battles and then come back and fight battle, we would have none of that. The Clone Wars would just be a series of fight scenes.
In Dave we trust, everyone. Let the slow boil happen. Everything, it's like a Jenga tower. They put a block in each episode to build it up, and they do it purposefully. If you put too many on one row, it's going to topple over. It's a slow burn. All right?
Yeah.
Slow burn. Okay? And I guess my advice to these type of people, wait until the whole season comes out. Like if you can't handle just getting little doses and only little bit of the onion skin gets peeled off, just wait so you can binge. And there are people that prefer binging versus episodic. I'll quite frankly, I love the idea of binging. It's nothing I ever do, so I kind of don't mind the traditional release cadence that Disney Plus goes with.
I'm a fan of.
I just like binging. To me, it's intimidating. I would hate it, especially for the way I like to cover this type of shit. And at this point in my life, I just don't have full days to blow watching streaming TV.
Yeah, no, it's too much to do at one time.
All right, so
more often than not, unless you're like you got a whole weekend by yourself. Right. All right, next up, Ripik Tan back again says cuts relaxed dad bod / mutton chops. Everybody, people like the cut look, man. This is the second time somebody's brought up cuts look.
I guess I shouldn't feel so bad about my greatly receded hairlines. I mean, outside of not letting my hair grow out, if I let my hair grow out, that's what I'd look like. I'd look like cut.
People apparently they're okay with it. You would just rock the cut, and then people be like, "Oh, look, Matt's fucking cosplaying cut every episode."
I just like relaxed dad bod and mutton chops.
I know, right? Dude, like he really did. Like he fucking defected and he just laid
He's
back.
chilled. He wanted to live a normal
yeah.
life, and that's what he told Rex way back when. So I love that they brought Cut back into the fold and kind of, put a nice little bow on his story. I mean, you could argue that Cut's story is over now. They got out safe. They've got their chain codes. I don't know if we'll see him again, nor do we really need to. But it was a nice kind of touching back on him. Another tie back into the Clone Wars, which they're going to continue to do.
Yep. And then our last response is from our interviewee today. This is from SW Props, Justin. He says, Omega with the quick instinct and sharpshooter skills on Crosshair. So that was actually
he's talking about the premiere, so he's not even on the right fucking episode, but at least he tried.
So he was talking about episode 1, but he did that. This was a response from today, but still, it's this Force sensitive clone. We talked a little bit about that with him when he was on the show. So definitely some
he's the one that kind of threw out there, and I wasn't even thinking it, that Omega could break bad, or she already is bad, and she's just kind of playing the goody two shoes. And while I don't see that at all, but maybe that's a sign of some good writing. So who knows? Yeah, I mean, you could pull a lot of different things from it because she's still a relatively mysterious character. I mean, all we know is she's a clone and she's enhanced. That's it.
Yeah, a lot of possibilities for.
But I mean, that's why I had to keep going over that Cut line though, where he said very poignantly, like, "Listen, Kaminoans do not create without purpose, plain and simple."
Yep. So yeah, there we go. So that's all the responses. Thank you to all 5 of you, literally, who responded. I don't know if anybody's responded since, but that brings us on to our battle bracket updates for this week. And this is the final. These are the final 2 before we move into the semifinal. So round 2 is completed here, and the first battle of this week was between Scarlet Witch and her father, Magneto. Now I know that in the MCU, Magneto is not Scarlet Witch's father, but in the comics and stuff like that, that was how it went down. So this battle broke out in a pretty hefty split for Scarlet Witch. So 73% for Scarlet Witch, 27% for Magneto. We only had 78 total votes cast here. So again, the non-Star Wars related little updates or bracket battles are not doing as well as the ones with Star Wars people involved. So Scarlet Witch moves on to the semifinals. And just to call out some notable Magneto voters, we have, if there's even anybody who's notable, all of you guys are notable. Thank you all for voting. I just like to call out some of the specific assholes in the chat. Klondike Studios voted for Magneto. A big L on Klondike Studios. Loser. Gregu Snaps. Gregu Snaps. He's been on the losing end of pretty much all of these. Big loser for Gregu Snaps. Liam Samard Photography. Big loser again. And Scott Blind. Another loser in the chat. So that's our Scarlet Witch versus
This is my
Magneto.
favorite part of this segment, just hearing Nick call people losers.
They're losers, man. It's fucking on paper. I have the proof. And then our next battle bracket update is Luke versus Obi-Wan. And guess what, people? The Master beat the Apprentice. Obi-Wan Kenobi, 64%. Luke Skywalker, 36%. It wasn't even close. Obi just fucking wiped the
what's
floor
going on
with them.
here, Nick? What do you think's going on here?
I think it's a lot of it's weird because I was like, okay, well, it always comes down to like Old Republic Jedi versus newer Jedi, like just straight up training. Like, Obi-Wan Kenobi had training in lightsaber combat and in just overall use of the Force from some of the greatest Jedi of all time, you could argue. Yoda, Mace Windu, some of these guys that have been, Yoda was around for 700, 800, 900 years and fully trained Obi-Wan Kenobi to the rank of master. And then Luke kind of had shoddy training, secondhand training, what didn't really do everything that an Old Republic Jedi would have. So maybe they just thought that like straight lightsaber to lightsaber wasn't even a contest. But then again, like, Luke beat his dad, but his dad was also old and he was all metal. Like he had a whole fucking robot body.
I don't know. I think you make some good points. I mean, Luke truly never got any sort of targeted training. Definitely combat training.
And if you take it, as we always say, like you're taking these people at their best. I mean, what was the best Luke? We may not have even seen the best Luke Skywalker yet. Like, if we continue to get Luke in animated form, if that's even possible, or we get more Luke content in some way, shape, or form, like we may not have even seen the best.
I mean, what do we got? I mean, you can't say Return of the Jedi Luke, he was at his best because he was clearly still learning, just became a self-anointed Jedi Knight. So you essentially have the Mandalorian finale sample and The Last Jedi, what he does with Kylo.
Yeah, that's really all you got.
So I would argue the Mando Luke was at his best, but if you consider the amount of power that it took for what he did in TLJ, whether you like it or not, it was enough to take him out. Like literally, it killed him. And if you're a dope like me to play Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and you have the Galactic Legends Jedi Master Luke, he is quite godly in terms of power when it comes. I mean, he can instantly. A JML squad takes out a Supreme Leader. Kylo squad takes out a Rey Skywalker squad, if you will. Now he struggles against Sith Eternal Emperor, but that it is what it is when it comes to the meta. So I mean, again, we didn't see it on screen, but I would still wager Jedi Master Luke, the Octo, the angry guy, was probably his peak power, even though he didn't showcase it.
Yeah, it's an odd point for Luke because his best years we've literally just haven't seen.
No, we got the first tease was the Mandalorian. That was it.
Was Mando, and that was it. So I mean, I can't argue too much with this result, honestly. Right. So notable Luke voters, though, you're still losers, so you will be called out. Kingdom of Weird, loser. SW Prop,
loser.
Justin, we love you, but you are a loser. And then Sir Dork 730, loser. Me, I'm a loser. I voted for Luke.
I purposely didn't vote, so I didn't get called a loser.
Press pause photography.
Is another
loser, and that'll be it. That's all we're calling out for this week.
You lose.
Way to go, all you big losers out there. But so that's going to set up our semifinal matches, I believe. So we're going to have this is going to set up our round 3 matches, which is our semifinal. We have Anakin versus Palpatine. Big match. And then Scarlet Witch versus Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, shit.
That's an interesting one, man, because I think that Scarlet Witch could almost beat anybody in Star Wars. Like, it's so close.
Well, you've identified that she's essentially no different than a Force user.
She's like a super powerful Force user. Like, I don't know, man. It's tough. I feel like, we are a Star Wars podcast. Our fans are Star Wars podcast listeners. So I feel like Scarlet's going to drop that. But I will put my vote towards Scarlet Witch in the Obi-Wan showdown.
Oh, he may become a loser next week.
It may be 2 L's in a row for me. But that's the end of the battle bracket updates. Right. Thank you all for voting who are out there, clicking on those buttons for us. It's just 1 click, everybody. Just click on our store. Technically 2 clicks. Click on the story, click on your vote, and that's all it takes. 2 taps of a finger.
Damn, Skippy.
But that's going to move us into our top 5 Star Wars Fan House features of the week. And this week is just a top 5 week,
Yeah, I keep forgetting to give Nick my top 1 because we've skipped that about 3 or 4 iterations at this point. But I like how he rolls. Basically, if I don't get it to him by Monday, he's like, "Fuck you." We're rolling with the top 5 at how I see fit.
We're just doing a top 5. I think we did. Last week was just another top 5, and then 2 weeks ago we did the shot breakdowns, and then the week before that we did the Matt Haywood pop shot break.
Fucking up the top 1, but big deal. Anyways, as Nick said, we're into the top 5, and if you want to get involved, as in you want to be featured and have your art gushed about on the show, all you got to do is follow us on Instagram at Star Wars Time Show and tag us at Star Wars Time Show in any and all Star Wars art related posts. Hell, even Star Wars posts in general. You never know what's going to catch our eye. But if you do that, we ask that you also use our lovely hashtag of Star Wars Time Show. And we scan through all these tags every day right here. Yours truly. Every day I'll post 12 new features to at Star Wars Time Show. And then at the end of the week, Nick will tally up, scan through all those shots, right? We're talking 6 or 7 times 12 shots. It's a lot. Can't do the math without a calculator.
80
there you go.
shots.
Like I said, we can't do math without a calculator. So he peels through there on a Monday. He selects the top 5, and then we talk about them on a Tuesday. And here we are with the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. All right, buddy, who do we got first here?
First up this week is at Cad's Toys, KADZTOYZ, with a super fun shot of a chess match that looks like it's going on between Mr. Din Djarin, and it looks like Jedi Master Luke Skywalker there, or Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, but their onlooker, Grogu, has completely ruined the board by force lifting all the chess pieces off.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, it looks like Luke or one of them was levitating the board to begin with, right? Because
one of them. Yeah, there's no table.
They're playing a version of chess that heavily requires the use of force. So the board itself levitates, but as Nick said, it looks like little Grogu was tired of sitting there watching Daddy Din and Uncle Luke play, so he decided to practice his force abilities a bit and jumbled up the board and dumped the pieces everywhere.
And even Din's like, Grogu, come on, bud.
Like, kid, remember?
I had him.
Exactly. He's like, this guy called himself a Jedi Knight, and I had him in 3 moves, and you fucked it up.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you think you could ever beat a Jedi in chess? Just because he knows your next move.
It would be impossible unless you were a Force user yourself.
Then it would just be like a weird, you would be playing like 3 games of chess. Like you would be playing 2 in your head to like confuse your opponent, and then all of the moves that you make would be different.
You'd actually have to disguise your thoughts. That is 100% correct. But it's just one of those very creative setups. The idea itself is genius. The execution is top notch. I mean, look at the little folding chairs. I mean, I'm assuming those are real props. Is the chess set real, or was it digitized and kind of composited to make the pieces look like they were floating and falling that way? And really, just I think that's the figure arts Grogu and figure arts Din, and they're also just good looking figures. But I love the scene, the idea, and the execution. It's just one of those fun Star Wars humor type of shots there from Cad's Toys.
Exactly. Super fun setup. At KADZTOYZ on Instagram, Cad's Toys. Go give him a follow. Awesome stuff. Next up is a shot that was actually mentioned last week on the show. And this is from at @phase_runner, Phase Runner. He's made the top 5 multiple times before, known for his Photoshop work and compositing. And we see a fantastic shot of Luke's hand, dismembered hand, falling down the chute. You assume it's the chute on Bespin, or just left the chute, and you see his Skywalker family blade falling down with it, with the caption, "I'll never join you." I mean, it's just like fucking powerful.
It's fantastic. That's the right word to use. It's power. It's powerful. Any Star Wars fan, when you look at this, you get the tone, you get the messaging here.
Yeah.
It's not just an image of a severed hand and a lightsaber. It's the meaning behind the phrase and the way Luke said it, like almost crying and yelling, "I'll never join you," like the pain that he was experiencing mentally, dueling with his father. It is beautiful, and I don't know if Phase Runner was kind of motivated by that recent Vader comic where we learned that Palpatine literally took the hand and was using it for experiments on clones. But it's a beautiful piece of Star Wars art that really speaks volumes if you're a fan.
Yeah. I mean, it's really truly amazing. And if you're familiar with Phase Runner, you know that he does some incredible work, digital art with Photoshop and his compositing method and stuff like that. He also has a shop as well, so you can buy both original artwork from Phase Runner. So that's just prints that he's made up himself. It's not connected to any particular piece of intellectual property, or you can buy official prints. Those are his Star Wars and Indiana Jones art pieces. So if you head over to his link tree that's on his Instagram handle, you can hit that up and then buy a nice piece of Phase Runner
Support
art.
him up, just like Nick's been doing. I don't know I think people missed that last week, but Nick has taken it upon himself to be the Star Wars Time Show representative to pay homage to some of these artists that we talk about. I believe he's bought an at Savvy Arts print. I think he ordered something from Super Scoundrel, but
Super Scoundrel shirt should be on the way. So this is the Savvy print that I want. I need to get a frame, but I bought the
there
piece
you go.
That, well, one, it made our top 5, and then 2, I said on the show, I was like, man, I would really like to see almost this exact piece in Savvy style, and then bang, she came through and made it. It is the life and death of Padme Amidala. So I really enjoyed the shot. I'm going to get a frame for it. It will be up either in this room here, my office room, or it may make the wall in my bedroom. But yeah, I've dedicated
there you go.
myself
So maybe
to,
if I didn't swear so much, you'd actually listen to the show more regularly and know that you did that for her. But you're a nice guy, Nick, so keep it up.
But
if you got stuff to sell, let Nick know. He's here for you.
Yeah, I'm here to support the artists out there. So there we go. Yeah, the shirt is on the way, Devin says. I know. I got the tracking for it. I just got to find the damn email and see when it'll get here. But I'm excited for it. I got the Mando
who
Vice.
Is that Sir
Devin
Dork? Yes,
shirt.
we did get one for free from the Dork. Hey.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna get something from Sir Dork too. I think I might grab some stickers or something from Dork because I was looking at his store.
You know what
earlier.
I want from Dork? I want a signed can of Mountain Dew.
Can you do that? How much will you charge for a signed can of Mountain Dew, Jared? All right. Next up, we got at Masso Art here, and this is just a masterful piece from Masso Art. This is a Darth Nihilus piece. So, did you hear that loud ass thunder outside?
We better get going. We better get going.
Yeah. So this is a fantastic piece. Darth Nihilus. You see his saber there, almost igniting, and he's he was known as like the world ender. Like he could literally sap the entire life essence out of a whole planet. And it looks like he may be getting ready to do that. He's above a planet now, and all of these lines that you see may just be that the energy of that planet filtering into himself.
It's almost like he is a titan in space, right? Like he is bigger than the world itself as he consumes its souls. I like I think Nihilus is a great character in terms of his design. I've talked about this before. I've always loved how the bad guys in Star Wars choose to look. They're always better than the good guys. So I love the look here, but I like how Masso. It's like, I don't know if it's blending styles, but it's like, it's a well-sketched Nihilus, but then you said it kind of gets into, there's like some venomous stuff going on with is that the planet's energy flaring up or any, I don't know. I like the mix of styles here. Like it's real chaotic towards the bottom, but the drawing in the art gets much more refined as we get closer to the visage of Nihilus.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those shots that not shots, pieces of art that really it's something that he created in his head. Like you said, he really thought of how would this work? How would this essence drawing into Nihilus himself work? And that's kind of what he put into this piece. I just thought it was really fucking cool. I like the coloration too. Like he could have gone with a really dark palette, kept it black and red and stuff like that. But I like how he added in the blue and the pinks and the purples and stuff like that to make the shot pop and not be so dark. So
I
I'm
mean,
a
hey,
huge fan.
we became fans of at Masso Art months ago. I believe Super Scoundrel introduced.
Yeah, I think they worked together
they did
on
a team up, and
collaborating on
we
some
you know we
pieces.
talked about them, and I know Masso's kind of stuck around, so.
Yeah, he's in the chat.
We
I
haven't
believe.
pissed that person off yet, so that's always a good sign. But yeah, love the art. We always love the real ass paint. We don't really know the technical things to say about it outside of looks awesome. I wish we had talent.
Don't worry. Whenever we have Devin on the show, we will make sure that he directs us to more words to use when it comes to real ass paint.
You know what I want to do with someone like Devin on the show? And I don't know how entertaining this would be because it'd be very visual in nature. I just want to sit there and watch him create. Like I think I could sit there for 4 hours and just watch the guy from literally blank screen to one of his finished art pieces.
We'll watch him draw a picture of you as Darth Maul.
That'd be a very short Darth Maul, but yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, I love Masso's style here. It's definitely unique. It stands out. He's someone just like Super Scoundrel, or even on the toy side now, where when I'm scrolling through the feed, I can kind of be like, oh yeah, there they go. They made some new art. Can't wait to share it. And Masso's definitely one.
He put out a Dark Side Ahsoka piece.
Yeah,
too,
no, that's one we've already. I believe
nasty.
we've did we not cover that one?
I don't know if you shared it yet, or maybe you shared it at the same time as this one. I can't remember, but it was nasty.
Oh yeah. We shared his initial variant of that Ahsoka one. So if you flip over on that, because he produced that right after her debut in Mando to kind of give her that samurai look. I remember that. It's fucking dope. Like that right there, man. That's a fucking tattoo, right? Because you're not gonna see. No one's gonna think of that shit. I mean, seeing Ahsoka all samurai'd out, she's even got the samurai mask on. That is fucking rad.
Yep. That's so nasty looking, dude. So good. Oh man. All right. So at Masso Art right there with the top 5 entry with the Darth Maul piece.
Spoiler alert, when we have Devin on, he just said he sucks at explaining what he does. It's just magic. So don't get your hopes up.
Devin's going to get on shows and he'll be like, yeah, so I get into like Illustrator and I have my Wacom tablet and I just move my hands
just start
around
drawing and the shit comes out of my fingers. It's what can I say? I'm magic.
Like, there you go.
I'm magic, motherfuckers, just like you said.
Yeah.
Like, okay. All right.
Well, there we go. Now we know. All right. Next up is Jinfinitoys with the awesome.
Yeah, this is
it's really an emotional clone shot here. And what we see is a clone trooper. I don't know if this is like post Fall of the Republic because they're all white. They're in their all white uniforms. They're not wearing anything with color on them. But you see a trooper down on his knees on a battlefield. Rain is happening. Picks up the helmet of a Phase 1 clone. And it's just like that moment on the battlefield, almost like what Boba did with his father's head in the Geonosian arena, just kind of resting his head there, remembering the fall.
No, that's a good callback. That really is. It's like, I don't know if you mentioned this, but I mean, you got the Phase 1 helmet and a Phase 3 clone, so it is like they were revisiting an old battlefield or something.
Yeah, like maybe it's, after the Fall of the Republic, these troopers are like going and occupying these planets, and then they end up on one of the battlefields, and this guy just saw a helmet.
At this point, the clones were dickheads. They'd be like, that pussy, he died. He deserves to be dead. Throw his helmet down. I'm thinking this is probably during the actual Clone Wars, but either way, the sentiment comes through in spades. I mean, I've said it 1,000 times before. I mean, typically I'll stop on a toy photography shot when I can actually feel the emotions coming through that static image. And this one nails that aspect of the hobby. I mean, I'm not even going to say it's a simple setup. I mean, it looks like it built out the set a bit. You got, some dirt, almost like a trench deal there. It looks like the troopers were nice and weathered. Even that pose probably wasn't easy to get and have the helmet actually look like it's resting in his hands and not just balancing there. So it's a great shot from at Jinfinity Toys.
Yeah, I mean, just filled with emotion. Like I said so many times before, when you can like look at a picture and then you can build the story in your head, you know that it's boom, it's a quality shot. So, Ginfinna Toys on Instagram, only 1,800 followers on this account. I mean, I hope we can get a little Star Wars time boost out of it. Because I mean, if he continues to put out shots like this, some fantastic worth.
Definitely has a quality eye for the hobby. So keep an eye on this one.
All right, and the last entry this week for the top 5 is none other than our good friend True Perry, TRUUPPERI, and we have another great shot using some sand people, some Tusken Raiders. And we also have one of their pets right in the front. Is that an ack dog? I believe it's an ack dog, right?
I think it's a massive.
Massive? Okay. Because I know that ack dogs are something different. Yeah, they're different. They're a little bit different.
I believe it's massive just because they popped up again. No, maybe not. I know I was just talking about, yeah, they are massive.
They are massive. Yeah.
See, I'm not that stupid.
But it's 2 Tusken Raiders out there in the Dune Sea. One of them's using a fucking stormtrooper helmet as a footrest.
It's like they're shooting the shit.
And their massive is just right there keeping watch. I just thought it was a well-composed shot. I just thought that, one, I love that figure of the massive. I don't know if that like came with one of the Tusken Raiders.
You know what, dude? I don't know if that's a custom or something from a 375 scale package that he just blew up to look bigger. Because I do not believe that is an actual Hasbro produced 112 scale massive figure.
I will say, like, if you look at his original share, like he has the full frame image that we're looking at now, but his second is a close up on the massive. So clearly he's showing off this figure. So I don't know if it is a custom. True Perry, I think you listen still. Hopefully you do. Hopefully we haven't pissed you off.
No, he did this one. If you read it, it's because he's a big fan of dogs. So it really, the massive was the focus, the subject of this shot 100%.
Yeah. So let us know if this is like a custom figure or if this was included. It's just like a 375 that Matt said, has blown it up.
Think you're right. We're leaving on Friday.
Okay, I'm almost done. All right, thanks for the update. We're leaving for vacation this week, and she's super excited because she's going to get to see her grandmother for the first time in a year and a couple months. So she's literally, we have a calendar up, Xing days off, and she's counting them down. So
there we go. Matt's little Jedi.
Apparently that update was important.
That's important.
Oh, there he is. He's in the chat. It's a custom. He printed it and painted it. So,
damn. So you painted that too.
The paint job is almost better than the photo. I mean, that's a great pick, but that's a fucking like top notch ILM type of model paint job there. True Perry.
Man, that's incredible. So I mean. But yeah, I mean, the shot all around is great. I love the background of the shot too. So you have rocks, like big kind of mountainous looking rocks in the background, selling the Tatooine landscape, the sand, and then even like like I said before, adding in that stormtrooper helmet as kind of
it's like these raiders are at a massive park, right? Like Nick probably takes his dog to a dog park. They're just here, they're chilling at a park, letting the massive hang out, maybe smell the asses of other massives. While they're talking about the latest raid they had on the Jawas or something. Exactly.
So that's the end of the top 5 at True Perry, TRUUPPERI. Thank you so much for your submissions, everyone, this week. But that's the end of the top 5, and that's the end of our show. Matt, take us home to the ending.
You got it, but I just want to remind everyone listening to the Star Wars Time Show, in particular, episode 161, that you can get 20% off and free shipping with the code SWTS at manscaped.com. That's right. 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Don't forget to use code SWTS because it will help you unlock your confidence in always get the right tools for the job through Manscaped. All right, people, don't forget, if you need stuff for your boys, head on over to manscaped.com and please use the code SWTS, as it will help your bros out a little bit. All right, so as Nick said, it's time to put E161 to bed, and boy, was it action-packed. We're approaching the 4-hour mark. We led with our interview with @SWProps. He gave us some great stories and insights into the land of autograph hunting and high-end collectible collecting. So if you missed that, make sure to catch it on the replay. But if you're new to the show and you're like, you know what, that didn't completely suck, well, this is for you. StarWarsTime.net. That's where you can get all our topics that we're going to talk about each week on the show. But more importantly, for someone like you, a Star Wars Time Show noob, you can find all of the key links to the socials and podcast platforms, not to mention YouTube. So head on over to StarWarsTime.net. Check out that sub to podcast link, or just scroll around and find them in the sidebar. You'll see them right there to the right. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Pandora, TuneIn, Stitcher, Deezer. We'll even give you the feed if you can process RSS XML type of code. But we need you. If you do like it, please sub. And please, 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 more importantly than just subscribing, leave a rating and review if we're on a podcast platform. If you prefer to consume the show via the live stream or on YouTube, always make sure to like the video and leave a comment if you can. Because in the end, the AI overlords dictate our fate. They're the ones that will open us up to new people searching for awesome or maybe hardcore Star Wars podcasts with the more ratings and positive reviews, or the more likes and subs on YouTube. We will rise to the top, right? We are the cream. We need to rise. We shall be risen, but only through your help. So diehards, keep beating the drum, get the word out, try to convince or trick other people to get in line to follow the SWTS. All you got to tell them, StarWarsTime.net, and they'll go, why? Well, easy. There's always time for Star Wars time. All right? It's not that hard of a pitch. If they get here and hate us, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to hate you for having them waste a little bit of their time. But so what? We need the help. We need the support. We need more listeners. Okay? Manscaped will like it too. All right? Don't forget. Manscaped.com, SWTS. Help the bros out. All right, my friends, we know it, you know it. Make sure someone else learns it this week, but there's always time for Star Wars time. And if they say, no, there's not, just drop this line on them. Well, remember, though, if you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, the Force will be with you always.